up to see who the dude was that wrote this, and it's Pluffett.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pluffett. So Pluffett Smedger, which is not Gary Julian, but is
The real Pluffett Smedger.
The real Pluffett Smedger.
Yeah. Was it 998 or something like that? Come year it's supposed to be written, so like 300s. Yeah.
Yeah, magic is already fading from the world, according to what they said here.
Yeah. But
we are live now, so just so you know, we're back. You know, keep the background so we can keep on talking over the ads like we always do. So,
we had a famous radio host up in Canada, Jock Webster, and it had a pre-recorded CBC intro to a show. And he used to swear and curse out the CBC all the way through it, with all the vocabulary he could muster, and with great creativity. And then one night, they lost the feed.
It disappeared.
And over the air, loud and clear, from coast to coast, he was...
Oh, that's funny. That he will be remembered for that only, or that more than anything.
Yes, yes. He was old school Scott, but he said he would be gender neutral in this one regard. In the middle of cursing things, he was going, "Well, what all these motherfuckers should be motherfuckers?" Oh, the entire country's going, "What?" They're looking at their radios.
How long ago was this?
About 17 years ago.
Okay.
I had to remember when he died.
Yeah. So it was the at the dawn when radio still had a huge impact before social media and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day.
Particularly in Canada, because in rural Canada there were lots of places you couldn't get television until they put a satellite in the right spot.
Yeah.
You know, the bits along the Canadian border, where the American border, where almost all of Canada lives, that was no problem.
But satellites get worse the further north you get, because they are in a geosynchronous orbit, which means that when you get close to the North Pole, it's the same way in Scandinavia. You have to have a bigger dish the further north you go. And with weather and stuff, it becomes much more difficult. So, yeah.
Yep. Whereas they had, because of, had to stop the Russians coming over the pole, they had radar towers everywhere and to link the radar outposts. So,
and they didn't want to use them for any civilian TV and stuff to entertain people.
But you could get radio bounce off of all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, radios were fine. But, televisions were non-existent. So, it was very... And unlike in the United States, Canada does have one national broadcaster.
Yeah.
Everybody has to carry it, so...
Yeah. Like BBC and a bunch of others in Europe that have strong public broadcasting corporations.
Yeah. So this guy was heard from coast to coast to coast.
Wow.
Brought to you by your tax dollars.
Exactly. Yes. Probably half the country loved him for it, the other half didn't. Something.
Oh, here come the hearings.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, it's always fun.
Yeah.
The one nice thing about living in Canada is, citizens never ever fail to speak their piece. Like our local Ontario premier, to fight COVID, enacted this thing where cops could stop anybody and ask them, "Well, you're away from home, so tell me your name and your home address, and give me a justification as to why you're out, or you get fined $750 because we're in a stay-at-home order."
Abuse.
Yeah, and that's breaks the Constitution right there, and he just enacted it. And the immediate response was, "Oh, well, elect a clown, expect a circus."
Well, he said that? Wow.
Oh, that came from a public health nurse.
Oh, okay.
And the head lawyer for the Lawyers Association said, "I do hope that policemen will ignore politicians who urinate and defecate on the Constitution." So it was like, there's no punches pulled now.
Yep. Wow. Yep.
Very cool.
and I sit there and take notes and shove it all into the next fantasy novel.
Exactly. Yeah. How politics work.
Nobody would ever believe this.
Exactly. Yep. So you take notes from real world politics and you make a fantasy version out of it. That's meaning we can now figure out how cults work and all that. It's awesome. Yep.
Oh, great stuff.
Yep. Oh, I'm going to yeah. I have something together for Wednesday. I'm going to link it in our chat too. So you
that's great. That's great.
Can read it too because I have something for.
Because I saw what you linked earlier.
Yeah.
Is it different or same?
The same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Link it in that chat too. Yeah, that's cool. So this is the kickoff of some mega. I mean, come on, Ed. It doesn't get any bigger than you, right? You know what I'm saying? But where do you hear who I got?
Careful with those lines. Instead of looking down.
Well, look. You know, we had Leonard on like 40 times because Leonard would just show up, right? He would just uninvited.
He just came in.
He would just come on the stream, hang out for a half hour, and leave.
Yep.
You know, and
he didn't say hi and he didn't say goodbye. He just came in and started talking and then.
But you know.
Wow.
Yeah, Leonard was awesome, but
yep.
you know, I know this one person you worked with extensively is my guest, and I'll do that announcement later on. But that 2 weeks from tonight, I got another monster person, first time ever they'll be on, which is we're excited about. And we're gonna have all the Paizo guys, Mona Bowman and Jacobs on a week from Wednesday. For a Paizo Hawk discussion. That'll be pretty cool.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm bouncing up. Sorry.
Now that we're all socially distanced, you can't get them drunk first.
No, that's true. They have to work on that themselves.
Yeah, and what that means is, you will get the polite version because Mona will be sort of looking at them, going, "Don't say anything."
Although last time he was on, he was a little. He was a little out there, man. He was
gaming. It was fantastic, but he was so much in character and meaning priest of Rally Shaz. You can't tell if you role play that one. You can't tell.
Oh man, wow, that was true.
Hey, we were supposed to be drunk for this.
Yeah.
Well, at least next game session. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing up and down. I have a dog that was trying to make a nest under my desk, and I don't like it when she pulls the plugs on wires.
We're still a little early here, so I wasn't gonna play it, but I'm gonna play it, everyone, just because we're like 7 minutes early. So I'm gonna play the Gamescape guy again. I know. I'm gonna play Jeremy again.
I'm
with
sorry, I
this
interrupted
Patreon.
you. You had a bottle of waving.
No, it's all right. It was just Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm just.
Oh yeah. See, I got my Canada Dry Mandarin Orange Sparkling Seltzer next to my coffee. So, hey Tony.
Hey.
Hello.
Tony's smart. She misses all the stupid preludes. Oh, did I say that about my sponsors?
No, don't be like that. I'm looking at all these buildings thinking they all look nicer than the house I live in.
Hello, Gamescape 3D. Tonight we're just going to take a couple
I'm
minutes
looking at
go over a couple of things on this round
black
palisade,
matte finish
these
faucets
Celtic
and stuff,
roundhouses, and the
and I'm
halfling
thinking,
house.
wow! I
Right,
have a
let's get to
handle
it.
on my pump
This is
that I
the
work
first
up
time
and
I'm
down
using
to.
open locks
You mean
again
the
in
garden
about
pump?
6 months.
Yeah.
So I just
That's
want to
what
go
we
over
have in the
those real
bathroom. We
quickly.
have little ones mounted on the side of the sink.
Okay.
David was waiting for Tony, so
Piece here.
that's
Like
what
we had in our summer
I
house,
have
we had a
two
pump in the
open
garden.
lock
Yeah.
inserts
Yeah.
on each side. You really only need to
No,
put
I,
one open
was
lock
trying
in
to
there.
finish dinner really
If you
fast.
haven't used
Yeah, it's an hour
open
difference,
locks
so I
before,
understand
they're pretty
that.
stiff
so.
the first time you
But you
get
had
them
a-
in.
have to finish on our
You'll
account.
probably want to
You can
use
sit
a
there eating.
pair of pliers.
Yeah, you can
and
eat on
just kinda
stream.
shove
That'll look-
it in there to
I
Oh,
would
I do.
prime the
drool a
slot
lot.
for the
I'd go,
first
oh my
time.
gosh, what's
After
she
you
eating?
put
Oh, she's in the United
an open
States,
lock
they
in
have
the first
food
time,
there.
it's usually a lot easier.
You
after
convinced
that.
me.
Yep.
Although I'm
You'll
barely in the
notice that
United
I've
States.
included-
I'm
You convinced me, David.
Man, they locked you guys down hard.
Well, yeah.
So-
If you take something out of the freezer that's been there since the dawn of time, or at least when you bought the freezer, I mean, the nice thing is you can take it out to your chopping block and hit it with an axe, and it will shatter in a million pieces, and then you don't have to cut it up before you put it in the frying pan.
I should take out my glasses. They
But you-
reflect so bad.
Well, yeah.
We all have that issue with glasses.
Look, you can see everybody in them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
a good thing. It's going back.
You gotta angle your head slightly down.
Actually, professional pro tip: always take your glasses off.
Yeah, I guess I
Because
could
then
have
when
mine
you're
off
having
too,
an
so,
orgy, or you're doing the stream nude, everybody can see in your glasses.
Noted.
That was the best excuse ever. That was awesome.
Was that what happened with the Mona stream back there, Jay?
All right, give me
Oh my
minute.
gosh.
Go put
Yeah.
my contacts in.
Oh my gosh, Tony, really? All right. For me,
Now we
you
get
can?
in
Added it.
some hours.
Look at
Yeah.
It's like super crazy.
What?
Oh
So,
no, they look cool.
so if I have
Tell if
my
I'm not paying attention though, because then I'm looking.
if I had my glasses
I'm
on,
kidding.
if I had my contacts in, I'd have to have my reading glasses on. So it's the same
When
difference.
you're ordering
All right,
all
I'll
that
leave 'em on
cool
this
stuff
side.
for the bathroom, get yourself some Elton John glasses. You know, with the flip up things and the little chase lights around them. And then when it reflects, you just turn the chase lights on.
They can't see you because I'm on the screen.
No, I have the reflecting stuff, but I have a prism in my glasses, so it like apparently it makes it like 1,000 times worse. The doctor
That's fine.
said it.
Just
I'm
close the
like,
door.
well, point then.
I brought
Some new
a
music
friend.
tonight.
I was, which friend should I have tonight? I've been subjecting Tony to this whole week, by the way. And should we go with the
Just remember, Tony, he's got his hands up the butt of all of these friends.
Yeah, it's better than he has a whistle too, just so you know.
Oh, I hope he keeps it hidden.
Or forget the owl. I don't know which
Yep.
one for the.
I like the raven.
Raven.
But on the other hand, we're talking about wisdom and libraries and stuff, so maybe the owl might be better. Yeah.
What is the adventures of Candlekeep and Temple to the Raven? Not mine.
Oh, all right.
Hey, then you have to have both like that, and they can have a conversation. So yeah.
Nevermore.
There you
That's
go.
very
You gotta
fun. She's
alternate.
making fun of the use of the slide whistle.
Yeah. And you should have one over your head too, so that you can have a triple conversation.
Okay. Let's
Yeah.
Slide whistle. This way I can play
oh
the
my
whole
goodness,
time
where's he gonna
I
stick
miss in your
that?
game, Jay.
What? Oh, is that a recorder?
Oh, I've been getting the whistle.
Oh, no, it's
He's
just
like,
real
hey,
fashioned
Tony.
slide whistle.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, Charlotte's coming by to help with the
I heard Twitch is like messing around. I heard Twitch is messing around with the music, everyone, just because they're worried about copyrights and stuff. But I own all rights to all the music, so I don't know. I don't know. But we're coming on.
Oh, thank you, Charlotte. Appreciate that.
Boom.
All right,
Jay,
love
you
everyone.
just have to sing all your own music in your own voice.
Why? If you
And
want
it
to
won't
hear,
trigger their filter.
you want to hear me singing, Ed? Go on the very first beginning of my screen. You can hear me singing the John Belushi song when he breaks the guitar in Animal House. That guy.
Mhm.
I gave my love a chicken, and you'll see how terrible I am. So yeah, I'm a
Terrible doesn't matter.
It doesn't, huh?
It brings in audiences. Hey, you gotta check this guy out.
Yeah, check this guy out. He's making a complete ass of himself. No, but good evening, everyone. How is everyone doing tonight? We got a lot of people just hopping on still. Amazing.
Yep.
Well, come on. We got, yes, tonight is going to be a real fun night. And welcome back, everyone, because we had all three of our special guests on tonight on a previous show about Dark Elves. And tonight we're going to go, this is a deep dive tonight. Very deep. So I want to welcome everyone. Let's say hello. And please
scary
tell a
when you
little
say
bit
it
about
like that.
yourself. What's that?
It sounds scary when you say it like
Well,
that.
Tony, note that I rarely do this for anyone else, but I did it for you. I bought
What'd
one.
you do? Oh, did you? Nice. Yay.
And guess what? I'm giving it away tonight.
Nice.
We're at least giving that away tonight. So, Tony, welcome. Tell everyone who you are and what you're about, please.
My name is Tony Winslow-Brill, and I don't know. What do you want to know about me? No, I'm sorry. I'm in a mood tonight.
That's okay. We're all going to have fun.
Good.
It's okay. It's going to be a fun talk tonight.
I'm in a mood today. It's been a long day.
What do you want to know?
No, I actually was one of the authors of the new Candlekeep Mysteries book.
Yep.
I do lots of different things here and there. I do lots of writing. I do freelance writing. I do freelance editing. I have a real job. I'm I do a real job. I do all kinds of stuff. So I just was in, I just finished a Kickstarter for the Potbelly Cobalt. So that is out on the DMs Guild and Amazon. So you can pick that up there too.
Very cool.
I don't know.
Sounds
good
like
enough? How's that?
You're busy, correct?
Yes.
We want to hear about your real job.
Yeah. What was that?
We want to hear about your real job.
No, you don't. It's really boring. Super boring. I am a director of research for mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry, you got through that?
That's just the cover story.
Yeah.
Tony, I have a real job too. It's very boring too. It's okay. It's real life. You know what I mean?
Right?
It wouldn't be. This wouldn't be like. Unlike Ed and Anna, this wouldn't be fun if you know what I mean. You just gotta have fun with this. You know, it's a hobby.
Yeah,
so
good.
It's beloved. So, but welcome back. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for having me back.
I liked your post. I've had a very busy but fun weekend or something like that, right? And I was like, well, it's got to be. If you're having fun, that's all that matters.
Yes, I overscheduled this week. Normally, I'm like, it's like one thing, I'm good. Because, you know, and I just happened to mess up some of the dates and I put it all for one weekend. So
that's okay. I mean, get it all done, right? But there'll be other opportunities, I think. You know, there'll be a lot of other games and stuff coming up too, which is, I know there's a lot, you know, usually you have a lot of fundraiser events, right? A lot of Jasper's events coming up. You got more coming up in the future?
I do. There is a Jasper's game day coming up in April. So that'll be fun. Oh, no, I'm sorry, May. This is why I screwed up this weekend. I don't even know what day it is or time.
It's okay.
Or nothing. So
we're very early, but thank you for coming back on, and I appreciate you participating in this discussion.
Thanks for having me again.
Eric.
Uh-oh. I was hoping to dodge this. What?
Hello. Tell everyone about yourself.
My name is Eric Menge. I am a freelance writer and editor that's been helping out with Baldman Games doing the Moon Shays. So I'm hip deep in Anglo-Celtic lore of the Forgotten Realms. But before that, I was one of the Living Greyhawk triads doing the Jeff region, which is go to Keoland and then make a right and keep going upstream until you hit mountains. And that's how you get to Jeff. A lot of fun. I enjoy traveling between the different realms of Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms, and occasionally Mystara when I can sneak some of that in.
Oh, cool.
Other than that, let's see, we're working with a host of really talented writers and artists to make up a fun little virtual pet site called The Tattered World, which is all about a post-apocalyptic world where you get to collect pets and make little avatars yourself and do quests all through a browser-based game. It is, I'm enormously proud of it. The team has done a really good job with it. Fantastic. So it's kind of like, are you familiar with Neopets at all? Or Gaia Online? Anyway, if not, you're the wrong demographic.
Absolutely. And Eric is one of the ones that plays in our Barrier Geeks Geoff group that we have, along with a lot of other triads, and we have a lot of fun doing that. And he has a great character named Swan, a specialty priestess of Mayhem. So very cool.
Who has a sword as big as she is.
Yes, and it's Elgin Bester sword.
Yep,
absolutely, and we'll get back to them soon. And Eric, thank you for coming and participating in this discussion as well. And then the other gentleman up top here, and he's really no introduction, but Ed Greenwood, thank you for coming back today.
Hi, great to be here. You rescued me from mapping a fantasy city that I've been doing all day, so I'm eternally grateful to you, because my eyesight was starting to go and my hands were starting to get the shakes. So, medieval Dublin, Ask Cleas, as conquered by the Vikings.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Laughing, and I have been saying this roof is slate, this roof is cedar.
Oh my gosh!
Oh wow!
This is turf.
Oh
these dormers, these are dormers. These towers have flat stone roofs. These towers have conical slate roofs. And I've been writing all that stuff for hours upon hours, and I have to write it umpteen more times than it should do, because in order to tell the mappers things, all the sheets have to overlap, so there's no distortion. So I have to draw some.
If I could get like an art a description like that when I make the map, ooh, that will be wonderful.
Having drawn stuff for, good God, 50 years.
Yeah.
To hand to TSR, knowing that the artist will get it wrong, and having received art orders from TSR that say, and this was printed, the original art orders were printed. If you want the artist to show a horse, do not assume the artist has ever seen a horse. Please include an art reference of a horse. So you had to do all that stuff. So, so when I'm doing a city, I draw all the buildings with floor plans.
Man.
Like I'm mapping them for publication, and I send them to the artist. And then I do this thing and says, please do not use these freehand drawings. Use the ones I sent, the clean versions. So there's a clean and a keyed version of every building.
Wow.
Every toilet.
Talking about monotonous.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it gets away from the village of Hamlet being 3 buildings.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 When you're selling the gamers a city, strangely enough, gamers are intelligent people and expect a city.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's something with Greyhawk. I mean, you got everyone, like, for example, that Fate of Istis book, they're like, oh, there's cities in it, and they're like, these maps suck, right? You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and there's so few mapped cities that are detailed, and when Free City Greyhawk box set came out, you know, everyone's like, this isn't right, you know, and then Malden fixed it, but it's just, you know, it's tough.
It's still the very best ever produced for Greyhawk. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's an interesting point there. So we're here to talk about great libraries at Greyhawk and Candlekeep. I know I should have probably flipped it around the other way with all of our guests, but you know, we are Greyhawkers here. So look, tonight we're giving this away. Okay, I barely have cracked it. I've looked through it a little bit. It's a great book. You get Tony's adventure here. I think you start on page 213, Tony, I believe. I want to talk about this real quick, an observation. I did not know this individual was still involved on yours. And it says here, written by Tony Winslow-Brill, and then you're developed by Bill Benham and Chris Perkins. Edited by Kim Mohan. I didn't know that.
Yes. I was a little nervous when I didn't hear back. They were like, hey, you know, if the editor has any issues, can we contact you? And I was like, of course. And there was like crickets. So I was like, is that good or bad?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, wow.
Yeah, he's doing stuff for Cobalt Press too.
He's retired, so now he's freelance.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now he's doing a lot of stuff.
Amy?
So yeah.
Hey, that's
Kim
cool.
is a great guy. He's a journalist. He came from local Wisconsin area journalism, not gaming. And so it's great. I used to hang out with Kim at every convention we got because I was a journalism student back in the day. So, and then a journalist for like 5 minutes. So we could tell all old war stories.
Same and strangely same.
I still remember Kim coming back to the hotel we were having Gen Con in Milwaukee saying, they've changed the law. They close the bars now. Before that, they went right through the night around the clock.
Oh my gosh.
That's where he spent his nights. He says, no, I have to come back to my hotel room. I have to open the bed. I have to lie down on it. What is the world coming to?
Great Roadhouse.
Horror.
Yeah, a great Roadhouse one-liner or two-liner. I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So I'm gonna show something else. All right, so you asked for it. Like, look, all right, there we go. We got our Lorca Samba mugs with the Free City of Altamira on the back and the logo on the front. All right, I just got them in. Yeah, so there you go.
So the merch store is building up here. So yeah.
So I'm going to be honest, Ed. The first time I ever ran across Candlekeep was in the 90s, because I've always been a Greyhawk guy my whole life. Win this. First starting area, you're in Candlekeep and Baldur's Gate. I knew, you know, and it was cool. It was cool. And Baldur's Gate 2, I think, is like the best RPG of all time.
I was like, is that the game in your hand? I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, this is the walkthrough book. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Back when they had walkthrough books for tutorials or instruction manuals.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just so. Why don't we
Pick up
start at
staff, drop lantern.
I did and Eric, I know you had a little bit of a complaint too on this as we're getting to. I did my research and I came up with some things, but I had on Cannon Fire, I had them all help me out with places to go for references. So I found a lot of them. Some of the specific ones will be scrolling through, but it's tough in Greyhawk for this discussion. But I got a lot of grimoires too that I located as well. So this will be an interesting overall discussion, I think. So Ed, what was where did Candlekeep come from? Like, where did it start?
7 years before there was anything called D&D. So long ago, when the world was sepia, and everybody jerked as they ran. No, I wrote a short story set in the realms, probably about the 10th or 11th short story, and it was the second one that didn't star Mert. All of the early Realms short stories were Mert the Moneylender, swindling his way along the Sword Coast. And that's how I was creating the Forgotten Realms. And then there was One Comes Unheralded Deserta, which has been published umpteen times as a giveaway, and in the TSR published it. And then there was one that has never been published. Kim Mohan's sitting on it, just to make the world
Oh, wow.
circular place. There were two that were not published. To Slay a Black Raven, which was the story of Randall Morn retaking Daggerdale. And The Endless Chance of Alondo, which looks over the shoulder of one young supplicant as he rides his horse up the Way of the Lion to Candlekeep and tries to get in and succeeds. And we see Candlekeep through his eyes. So this was, a good 7 years before there was a D&D game. So that's how old Candlekeep is.
So we're talking 60s?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see.
You can tell by the mid-century architecture.
Yeah. Yeah. It was about 1967 or so. 67 or 68. Yeah, probably 67.
Wow. I was born that year.
Oh.
Now I'm showing you how old I am. Yeah.
I was 2 years old then. Yep.
Well, I was only like, let's see, I was 8 years old. So,
Wow.
I started creating the realms when I was 5. I was one of those child prodigy things. My mom had died, and a maiden aunt was raising me, and I was spending all my time when I wasn't at school or walking back and forth from school in my dad's den, which was full of cool stuff. I mean, I don't mean like Playboys and stuff. His idea of dirty books were Woman in Love and Peyton Place.
Peyton Place. That was a TV show.
Oh, wait a minute. There was one dirty book. The Nude Said No. No, sorry. The Nymph Said No. And I spent my entire up to my teenage years searching for the Nymph Said Yes and never found it.
You have to write it. Now you realize you have to write it.
Well, and that's how I started writing. I'd go pounding up the stairs with a book, something terribly inappropriate. My dad would have the house full of generals and highfalutin NORAD guys, and I'd come pounding up the stairs with a battered wartime paperback. Owl Hoot Trail, she was staked out nude in the sun to die. And I would go pounding up the stairs to my dad and say, Dad, this one's really good. Where's the next one? And my father would go, son. And then he'd say, well, that author died in 1938. If you want another one, you're going to have to write it yourself. And I go, oh, okay. And I go pounding back down the stairs to the den, where my Aunt Clara, who, like every good farm housewife who'd been through the Depression, every single brown paper bag you got from the supermarket got slit around the edges and ironed flat and given to the children with the crayons to write on. And I would write a terrible pastiche sequel. Thank gosh nobody's ever seen those. But I was copying everybody, like Lord Dunsany or Kipling or Woodhouse. I was learning how to write. I once got hauled down to the principal's office for plagiarizing Woodhouse. And the teacher was like, the principal's really going to tan your hide. And the principal story and came out and he said, where did you get this? And I said, I wrote it. He goes, no, come on. Where did you get this? It turned out he was a Woodhouse fan, and he thought I'd found an unpublished Blandings short story. And I said, no, I wrote it, honestly.
That's awesome.
And he said, wow. And then not only did I not get punished, he called my dad and he said, wow, I think we should give this man an A. Wow, as long as he finishes the story and writes another one for me.
That is cool.
And then that's when I realized the world runs on bribery. I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it does. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Walt. Thank you for this. For those. So that is amazing, though. In the '60s, you were writing content that now got published in the Forgotten Realms setting all the way back then. I mean, Candlekeep's an amazing place, and you know, like I said, my first experience was playing a computer PC game in the '90s. You know, Eric, what was yours with Candlekeep?
Probably it was seeing the Roll of the Years in the old gray box set for the Forgotten Realms.
Okay.
And then I had to play like, well, who's Alondo? And then I had to go search that down. What's Candlekeep? And one question kept leading to another.
Awesome.
And that was, and then obviously we played Baldur's Gate as well. And I was like, oh, hey,
there it is. They're in there. They started in Baldur's Gate and Candlekeep. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Imri.
And I remember when I got my copy of Baldur's Gate, I didn't have an IBM PC. I had a Mac, and they were all developed on Macs, but they were developed for IBM PCs. So I couldn't play it. And they said, oh, we'll send you the walkthrough emulator. And I said, okay, where's Candlekeep? And they said, right there. And I said, that's not Candlekeep. That's like one tower of Candlekeep. What the hell?
Yeah, and I actually, it's scrolling through, and it should be coming up shortly. But I pulled this from, because you know I'm a little bit of an overkillerist type of person here. I have a picture of the Candlekeep in. No, I'm not going to be able to find it. Here it is. That's Candlekeep from the Baldur's Gate original. There it is. That's the actual picture of it.
Oh, tiny and cute.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what they did.
It's merely an illusion, cast with powerful spells to conceal the real Candlekeep from the world.
And if you look at this is in the book, right? This is in the new book. So
yes.
Much nicer. So kind of gives it kind of reminds me of the I apologize, I'm not as scholarly as I should be. The French monastery during the tides.
Saint Michel.
Saint Michel.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is kind of cool.
It originally wasn't supposed to be quite so castle-like.
Okay.
Because it was stuck out on its own volcanic neck plug. So it didn't need huge high castle walls. But over the years it acquired them because it got attacked several times. And then when in-house people at Wizards did Confrontation at Candlekeep, I know because I got dragged into lore check on that. They had castle walls for it. So it was like, okay. Yeah,
wow.
well, it's logical. They would have built them.
Okay.
I mean, for one thing, if you'll look at that illustration you put up, there's a crashed pirate ship there, sitting in Candlekeep.
I'm looking.
Oh,
really?
I gotta look over here.
Look at the piece of art, not the computer game.
Oh, geez.
Oh, not the computer.
No. There's a crash.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Yeah, there it is to the right. Oh my gosh! Wow, it's just like sitting.
Before Candlekeep Mysteries came out, a year before.
That's cool.
A bunch of gamers,
yeah.
Justice Arman, Anthony Joyce, MT Black, a bunch of guys, did Elminster's Candlekeep Companion, excuse me.
Weren't you on that too?
Yeah, they called me in.
Don't forget yourself.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, I didn't so much write stuff as hand them all my unpublished lore stuff and then answer all questions. And if you look on, I think it's page 224 in that, I might be wrong on the page number. It'll tell you about the Riddle of the Styx, which is that boat.
I'll take a look. Very
cool. How come it ended up so high up on the buildings?
Well, it got washed out. Okay, not that book. It's it's
a different book.
I don't have that one.
Yeah. There was a huge terrific storm.
Yeah.
And Candlekeep had a bunch of old ruined towers, because one of the bad things about being right on the sea and having the occasional monster storm come ashore, as you know, in the real world, occasionally there are terrific storms and lighthouses are swept away. They're just not there when the storm's over. Well, this particular tower had been broken in half, and it was just sitting there because nobody was going to go out there and repair it, because you get wet when you're repairing it. And wetness and books don't go together. So the monks just huddled inside and ignored that tower. And then there was another great storm, and when the storm was over, this boat was perched on top of its crew are all whites, and because someone had a sense of humor, it has cannon, this boat, and they will defend Candlekeep by firing their cannons.
Oh, see, Anna hates cannons in D&D. She goes all the time.
So now we know there's officially cannons and gunpowder.
Yes.
I assume
cannons are cannon. Yeah. Well, no, they fire with smoke powder.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Not with gunpowder.
Right. Which is magical.
I'm with Anna.
Magical.
Yeah.
I didn't make this up. They did, and they put it in the realms, and I thought, oh well, too late now.
Yeah. Now it's there.
Yeah. I'm just. You keep your stuff out.
Exactly. I don't want any of that. Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a hilarious. I can pull a Gary Gygax story here now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, years and years ago, I'm writing an article for Dragon. The one that was published on adventuring in the modern world, and he was saying, well, I know we have smoke wands and stuff from Greyhawk, but I'm trying to keep the 6 guns down a bit, so wizards get them and not too many other people. And my father, who had dropped by to pick me up, said to Gary, "But you've got missiles in your world." And he goes, "What?" And my father had just finished declassifying the U.S. military missile known as a Dragon.
So it's the same.
He says, "You have a world full of dragons." And he goes, "Yeah. Well, they're all missiles."
Yeah.
How do you think those heavy beasts fly? They don't have enough lift with those wings to fly. Yep. They've all got missiles up their bums. Gary said to me, "Your father's weird." And he says, "Does he ever go drinking?"
That's awesome.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, a little quick on a tangent here. What do you think about Eric, Tony, and Ed, especially Priest Merlin? I mean, Merlin comes from Boot Hill, right? And Greyhawk. I love the god of technology. It doesn't have to be something crazy, and the smoke powder, you got to be 10th level to use it as a priest of that. I mean, obviously, Ed, you got cannons on those ships. Where is there a place for that? Is rare, or what do you think? Who wants to take that up? Eric, go ahead.
All right, I'll do it, because actually, really enough, we had a discussion about this with my home group earlier this weekend.
Oh, cool! Look at that timing.
And I went on a rant on it, so we're getting to have the rant refined.
Okay.
One of the problems we have is gunpowder is a slow development that has been over 1,000 years. And one of the problems we have as game designers, we tend to go straight to the most evocative and imaginative, like Merlin and his 6-shooters, muskets with flintlocks. Flintlock technology is like super advanced.
Yep.
I was doing a webcomic, Snow by Night, which is set in the 1700s French Canada, where flintlock, they had flintlocks after about 600 years of experimentation.
Yeah.
And it's not just knowing how to build the gun, it's also to have the technology to be able to build the gun, like the metallurgy, being able to build a barrel that can shoot that doesn't explode on you, which is one of the problems that they had whenever the Turk was assaulting Constantinople, is they kept having their cannons explode on them.
That's 1400s, yeah.
And so you can have gunpowder, I think, and still maintain your medieval-esque feel of Dungeons and Dragons, if you keep in mind the technology that they had at the time, which is someone's going to be lugging around this giant iron tube and then having a whole pile of this foul-smelling stuff that is prone to explode on you, and then you stick
or not fire
match
at all
into the
'cause it
middle
got
of
damp.
it and hope something happens. Also, you also keep in mind that once you start bringing in cannons, castles are going to change.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
They're just not. They cannot stand against it. Even the Great Walls of Constantinople could not stand against cannon fire, and they stood for 1,000 years. So you have to start thinking through all the implications of it. So if Merlin shows up with the 6-shooters, it's going to have no effect on Greyhawk,
right?
Because no one else can replicate it. Effectively, he's a warlock. Pew pew pew, Eldritch Blast. It's the same thing. But if you start in teaching people how to make the technology to build the guns, that's going to be a lot different, because you're also going to have to teach them the metallurgy, how to make a thermometer. Before, that's how we got thermometers, was to figure out how to make boilers that didn't explode. Before that, our temperature was kind of hot. Ooh, really hot. Hot. And that was how you did temperature at the time.
It's not just that, it's rifling barrels.
Yeah, that was really
somebody has to think of that.
Yeah, and also someone had to come up with the stupid idea of loading a gun or a cannon from behind, from the rear rather than the front. That took hundreds of years before someone even came up with the idea of doing it. And rifled barrels, that means that you have to understand the physics of the spinning objects and all that, and that was hundreds of years.
You have to figure out how to rifle them.
Yeah, meaning it took until World War II until we could properly understand an artillery piece, how that actually worked. Meaning up until World War II, there were fundamental discoveries in the kind of the ballistics of flying things, meaning send things through the air and figure it out. So that was like a,
gosh, guys.
There was a fantasy and porn writer called Andy Offit who wrote a great fantasy novel called Messenger of Zu-Vashtu, and he handled that beautifully. He has a bunch of Earthlings go to a fantasy sort of medieval level Martian come planet, and one of them breaks all the rules by smuggling modern technology there. And the others are hunting for this one. And this one has a gun, a modern revolver, and which is referred to by the natives as the hurler of thunderbolts. And halfway through the book, she loses her temper and fires at someone, and for the first time misses. And the entire city, because she's risen to rule the city by murdering the right people. The entire city goes, whoa, because they've been scared of her, because they've thought that the gods gave her this power to hurl thunderbolts. And now they've all seen a thunderbolt miss. And now they know all they have to do is all jump her at once, because she can miss. You see, it's not that easy.
Yeah, but for me, it's like if someone can, in a game, describe it enough so they fool me to not think it's modern technology, I'm fine with it. It's when they start labeling it and calling it and explaining it from a modern perspective, that's what kind of throws me off, so to speak. But
I actually think Tolkien handled this beautifully. Farmer Giles of Ham.
Yeah.
He has a blunderbuss.
Yep.
And he's forever looking around for old pieces of pottery and stuff to fire out of it. And depending on what you load it with, you just get this cloud of stuff that goes about 10 feet. Unless it's heavy enough. You know, so the heavy stuff, the rusty nails and so on that are going to give you an infection, they may go 20, 30 feet. But everything else just sort of blats out the end of the gun. You know, because it's a wide mouth blunderbuss. And you just can't get enough power behind it. And if you try to get more power by using more gunpowder, the whole thing blows apart. And you lose your hand and part of your face, and your opponent loses nothing.
Part of your face.
So these are the secrets kept in Candlekeep.
The guy looks funny without a face. Except in politics. But there's lots of them. Yeah. The faceless men who run, never mind.
Tony, you agree? It's keep it out of my D&D, basically.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess if you can convince me that it's like you said, if it doesn't pull me out of what I'm doing, then it's great. And sometimes if I know ahead of time, I think it's more when we're doing it and then suddenly it's there. If I know ahead of time, it's part of the world cosmos and it's part of what is going on. It doesn't bother me nearly as much at all.
Yeah, but there are some tantalizing what Ed talked about before, and Eric, about that if you had like cannons, you had to redesign castles and all that. It's interesting because there was a product, the Castle Heart, that in Furiundi that was presented. That castle is actually, when you look at the illustration, is a castle that from late Renaissance when they had cannons. That is a castle that is made to withstand cannon fire. When you look at the design, that's one of these kind of bastions, and it had all the designs. It's not a medieval castle they depicted. I don't think that the person who illustrated understood that difference, but when you look at it now, you can clearly tell it's a castle that is made to withstand gunfire, or cannon fire.
Bill, the Master Crafter, just said, didn't Red Wizards of Thay have cannons in Forgotten Realms?
No.
It's
the
magic?
Red Wizards, they have magical bombards.
Magical bombards. Okay. Completely
and
magical.
What they're really doing is propelling... okay, you know the old thing about hoist on your own petard?
Okay.
You know the old thing, the bucket of gunpowder that you have to run up to the castle and hammer a thing into the gate and then hang the bucket on it and hope it doesn't blow up and then run away.
Right.
That's what the petard is.
Okay.
What the Red Wizards basically have is a magical delivery system.
Okay.
So you have this bucket of smoke powder with shrapnel, as in you take your caltrops and everything, you just pile them in there on top, and old nails and so on. So when it blows, nasty things will go in all directions, just like a real world improvised explosive device. And you magically deliver it. And of course, the best thing to deliver it to is just above massed enemy troops. And then it blows up and everybody gets riddled. I am currently at work with Alex Kammer and Alan Patrick on a Thay source book.
Oh. And
Joe Rasso is helming a group that's doing Rashomon next door. And we are going to be covering why Thay is an entire military failure.
Okay.
Nice.
How they can't conquer Rashomon no matter how many times they try.
Or Aglaron.
Or Aglaron, or Mulhorand, or Unser. It's just like a glorious history of utter failure. Despite the fact they have undead armies, they can literally bury you under.
I'm going to take a beating from the Greyhawk audience right now. Are you ready? And Anna's going to laugh.
Okay.
I'd rather have the Red Wizards of Thay than the Scarlet Brotherhood any day.
Well, Scarlet Brotherhood's pretty competent.
Yeah. So,
that is funny. Yep.
By the way,
that's what you're going for. That's fine, yeah.
Yeah. So, by the way, we'll do a Greyhawk now giveaway too. It's a reprint. I knew you were going to say that, Gary. This is a reprint. The Treasures of Greyhawk. There you go. So we'll make it 2 now. So we got Candlekeep, Mysteries, and the Treasures of Greyhawk. All right.
Do you get all those reprints? Like, where do you get them from?
Drive Through RPG, GM's Guild, and the great thing about them is that
Jay, you're supposed to say magic.
Yeah, I should.
I mean, I figured
they just show up,
but you never know.
I want to do a shout out. Canadian Ancient Gamer, who's on, sends them to me, and I don't even ask for them. A lot of them.
See,
okay,
one of our great. Get them from. Yeah,
and then so we have some really fantastic members of the community, and
that's an official sponsor now.
Yeah. So and that's when it makes pertinent. And this will be a good one for this one as well. So very, very kind people. All right. Sorry we went off on that tangent there, but I thought it was a good opportunity.
We might come back again to the show.
I'm going to give us Greyhawk credit. One line in this whole damn book. Sorry, Tony. I'm kidding. I'm just being facetious. Page 4. Page 4. Third bullet point down. And this is, if you're not running a Greyhawk campaign, Forgotten Realms Greyhawk campaign, you can adapt the adventures in the book. And it goes, on the world of Earth, the great library in the free city of Greyhawk. That's it. It's right there. So we got that line in there.
Wow.
So it's in here. Which means that they're thinking about it. Whatever that means, right, Ed? Whatever that means. So we do exist.
Guess what? One thing has not changed from the early days of the game. Even though we all have social media and pixels are quote free, except strangely enough they're not, word count remains a problem. You can't squeeze a quart into a pint pot. You can't bring things down to mouse type and have no margins, because older gamers like us will no longer thank you for doing that, even though younger gamers like we used to be would do that because, hey, we're paying big bucks for this, give me more. So guess what? You'll always have to leave something out. And these days, the old line from Andrew Marvell, had we but world enough and time. It's the time, baby. You never have time to do everything. There should be a web enhancement that takes every single TSR world, including Spelljammer. Spelljammer confirmed. No, and
fun to mess with.
yes, and then do here's how you put this book. Every adventure in this book, not one paragraph of hand wave. Every adventure. Here's how you adapt it to every single world, and then we would all feel the love.
Yeah.
However, you have to get the product out of the door, out of the nest, and into the hands of the public before they die of old age. And you
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I used to visit TSR twice a year. And Bruce Hurd, who was acquisitions manager and who therefore handled all freelancers, he would want me to go to lunch, and he'd say, but you can't be unescorted in this building because you're not an employee. You might see some IP. Really? Yeah, I know, but they had these stupid rules. So I couldn't be seen by any member of management wandering around without an escort. So I would tag around with him, and he'd go from cubicle to cubicle saying, hello, I know you would like to tweak this to the end of time, but production wants it, and they want it right now. So I'm going to tear it from your cold, dead hands. And if they aren't cold and dead, yet they will be. I mean, literally, his job was to push things to art and production. So you can't, in defense of Tony and everybody else in-house who did the book, you can't put everything in. You have to finish. Right?
Yeah.
And they're going to chop the liver out of what you write anyway to make it fit.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, one of the things I asked was like, so do monsters and stat blocks count in my word count? They did, by the way. They did.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking about how do we block this into the product. So everything counts.
Yeah, I was like, wah. Okay.
And skin monsters.
We know that's the case because when Jim Ward, when he was on the show, told us that he did his book in 3 months. The whole book.
Yep.
Whoa.
In 3 months.
He had 3 months. Oh, a doddle, a cakewalk. I was doing books for them in weekends. Seriously.
Oh my gosh,
the
it's
books we had
crazy.
to rescue.
I've heard stories.
Production and printing had deadlines, and they had just looked at what they've got and said, we can't publish this. And then the phone would ring at the public library to call me in, and Alfred would answer. In the Batcave. No, I mean, but all of us would get phone calls, frantic phone calls, and then we'd literally, you do this, you do this, you do this, and we'd portion out the book and generate 20 pages of stuff. And somebody in-house, usually Julia Martin, would grab everything and put it together and shove it out the door into production's hands.
Oh, we did that, Tony.
Yes,
Our adventures.
Wow.
Oh, we got to rewrite this in 3 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
That's
happens
terrible.
more. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
It happens a lot.
Wow. I thought I've been asked to do a map in 3 weeks. Can we send you like the art order in 1 week? You have it done in within a month? And
I
said,
art
no
orders.
way.
I had to write art orders in 2 hours, and I had to provide art references in about 6 hours.
Whoa.
Before the internet. What that means is you collect every magazine the library is going to withdraw, and you stack them in one room because you're going to be going through them with a pair of scissors.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how many people in both Greyhawk and the Realms were dressed from French fashion magazines. because French fashion magazines actually show you all of a woman's body from the ground to the top of her head, rather than, look, here's my left breast with a bottle of perfume in front of it, which isn't really very helpful for seeing what the clothes are.
I do have the mute button on, just ready to hit that button. No, I'm just kidding, man.
No,
You're doing great.
okay.
You're doing great.
Beep.
So,
no naughty words.
Yeah, it's doing wonderful.
This is awesome.
Ed,
Yep.
Now, before Anna and Tony hopped on, it was just Eric, Ed, and me. Ed said he had a huge surprise for the audience and me, right? And you actually had Greyhawk content to discuss?
Yes.
What kind of surprise you got going on there?
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I have, of course, Candlekeep stuff, but I thought it's not fair to always come on and be Mr. Realms.
See?
So,
Got your attention now.
because we have to give Greyhawk some love. And you know, I promised Gary that I would do Greyhawk as well. And then he died, and then, you know, there was no more Greyhawk stuff. But anyway, so I do have a Greyhawk thing. And this concerns the Great Library of Greyhawk, located in the Free City of Greyhawk. Yes, that one. And an uncatalogued secret tome hidden in that library, of which, so far as known, only one copy exists. And this book would be The Scribblings of Sagast.
Huh. I
A
just dropped my
handwritten
pencil.
chapbook. Oh no!
I was like, my pencil. I gotta write this down.
The doctor can fix that.
Scribblings of Sagast?
Sagast.
Sagast.
Saghast.
Okay.
A handwritten chapbook penned by the now deceased head librarian of the Great Library, the immediate predecessor of the current head librarian, Drusker Ikander.
Right, Ikander.
A man by the name of Gracious Sagast.
Sagast. He's in here. The high desk of Gracious Sagast, head librarian, sits upon a raised platform inside the front door. So
Bingo!
as of the Free City Greyhawk box set before Quandor came on, he was okay. Really cool.
He was an occasionally pesty. He got testy when somebody defaced a book or tried to not return a book. I think we've all met librarians like that.
Okay.
He was a kindly old man. He was a sort of quieter, smaller Dumbledore, wispy bearded, much given to peering over his half-moon spectacles. His glasses, by the way, were double shields, like 2 layers of lenses held about a finger width apart in special frames, and he would look over both of them at you. Very disapproving. In his professional dealings, on duty, he seemed kindly and understanding and gentle, a man who lived alone aside from his several cats and his endless cups of tea, but it seems his manner concealed a gleefully nastier nature. Ikander discovered the scribbling slipped into a recess in the seat of the head librarian's office chair. When the worn fringe of the seat cushion needed replacement and the firmly knotted in place cushion had to be removed to effect that refurbishment. To put it plainly, Sagast's book is a daily journal of overheard city gossip, to which Sagast added his own arch and catty comments.
Oh, wow.
Although it's a delight to read for its gleeful vitriol, it forms a valuable record of daily gossip and local attitudes in the Free City that reveals far more of the true nature and reputations of citizens than any number of formal tomes of history. So I'll give you just one sample entry from it.
Wait a minute. This exists. This exists in writing somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
He's reading it right now.
Oh, my God. I thought it was just going. Oh, my gosh.
Fun place. Yep. Sorry.
I had to write it before I could tell you about it.
That's awesome.
Okay, so here we go. Here's a sample entry. It seems the Lady Seer, that's capital L, capital S, of Batwing Lane, check your maps of the Free City of Greyhawk, folks. Batwing Lane is there. Has seen rather more of prominent merchant Thontius Belbrister of Inkwell Lane, check your maps again, than the wife of Thontius, the noted cloak designer Rayla Belbrister, finds acceptable. Which is why the corpulent and large-nosed Thontius buried of his in a freshly manured garden bed outside his bedchamber window after being violently propelled through said window in the early hours of yesterday evening. They're still removing shards of glass from his less than handsome to begin with face, and Railra has abruptly departed the city in favor of Narwell and the house of her mother, her fury uncooled by the chamber pot the lady seer, Ardra Rushriver, emptied over her head from a high window in response to Railra's noisy attempt to break down her front door and settle her hash for her, unquote.
Oh.
For her part, Ardra has made no public statement, but this may go far to explain how she can be visibly with child despite having no husband. Or not. I'm told the Lady Seer is consulted at all hours by many citizens of the Free City, most of whom have the misfortune to be men. They can't all be bringing her chocolate.
Wow. That's
So,
fantastic.
I will do the following. I will. It's on the stream now, so I'll make sure I get it compiled and we put it somewhere. I will be full.
Oh, that is fantastic.
That is awesome, Ed. Thank you
Ed.
so very much. Scribbling of Sagas.
Wow.
That is awesome. So if you go to page 67 of for Greyhawk, the Gem of the Philanus, you get about a page on the Great Library of Greyhawk. Now, the Great Library of Greyhawk supposedly rivals, right, the Great Library of Relmord in Nyrond, which I can't find anything on. Am I wrong there, Gary, or Rich Longitalis, or any of you? I can't find a thing on it. How about you, Eric? Did you find anything on any of those? I got a couple on some other ones, but go ahead. Yeah,
They're just lines on them. They're just lines telling you there are other great libraries. They never went any.
Yeah, I couldn't find any details on them. Eric, how about you?
I think Skip Williams said that they'd been to the Elven one once in play.
Okay.
Is that
Like
the
for 5 minutes.
The one in Selene. There's one in Selene.
Yeah, that's right. That's the one.
Yeah.
I found reference to the
Nathalian Archive. The Nathalian Archive is the one in Selene.
And then the Royal Annals of Relmord,
yes.
Where I believe that Pluffett's Menge fellow had.
Dave Sutherland used to call them the Royal Annals.
All the secrets tonight.
Yep.
That's because it's the number 2 library in Greyhawk.
Nice.
So yeah, I got nothing more. There was barely any mention. I was like, obviously Keelan has to have something. You have the heralds of Keelan hanging out there. They would at least have all the secret files on everybody.
No, they'd have the lineages
for the
and
raid.
genealogies.
Oh, those are
Heralds.
the ones they tell you about.
Yeah.
And I would think, actually, this one question is more for Anna, whether it would be Ekbir or Zeif would have a Library of Alexandria kind of thing going.
Yeah, I would see Ekbir having really been kind of a. I see libraries, I think, tend to flourish where there's stability and openness. Those two things combined, so to speak, meaning the freedom of thought and also stability. Books, great library is not made instantly; it's hoarded over time, which means that stability is one of the key things. So a place needs to have been there for a really long time, and they've had freedom of thought and kind of admire intellectual pursuits for a long time. That's where libraries spring up and flourish. And since it's like agriculture, it takes a long time to grow it. And so I see Ekbir is probably one of these places that I see Zeif as probably not that. I see Ekbir is probably one of the ones that have been long. Neoldra in Keeland has been stable for centuries. That's another, I think, good place to place a library. And of course the elves have been around for many millennia, which means that they have a lot of time to at old age write down their wisdoms and stuff like that. So
the Hellenic Archive might just be an attic that the elves have just been stashing stuff into for
but also in the fantasy world they might be different shapes and forms. They might not be tomes of papyrus or paper. They might be stone tablets. They might be scribbles on trees that have grown into whatever. Meaning they can take different interesting forms depending on the race. Meaning they can be, meaning the dwarfs might have some stone tablets done in a different way. Yeah, meaning in different ways, and Drow might, meaning I could sense that literature could take interesting new forms that are not what we normally perceive. Meaning we have in some cultures, you have book rolls instead of book tomes and stuff. You can kind of spin off new interesting, think about interesting ways to store information, like we have in South America, these ropes with nuts on them and stuff. That meaning interesting, spin off interesting ways for that. That's what I assume in mini. Imagine the Drow have some sort of spider web kind of thing for some weird way they can spin their books in some ways because they're spidery, something like that. What about a spun library that is spun out of something, or meaning you can kind of
Drow big on sharing, and libraries are built on sharing.
Yeah, you could no exactly. Meaning that their culture might not be prone to libraries at all, so to speak, and also if knowledge is competitive, that means that you hoard it, but you would never advertise it as a library. It will be private collection somewhere hidden away from the public view and not advertised as a public library at all. So
that's what makes Candlekeep so weird.
Yeah, and that's and a couple. Yeah. So Tony, when you were
no, because we have deities in the realms.
Yeah,
Ogma and Danir and so on. That's why Candlekeep.
Very
because
cool.
You have a religious reason for its existence.
Yeah.
Tony, when they came to you for
deity back protection. Hey, keep interrupting Tony.
That's all right. I know. My question was, when they came to you for doing the book, did you know about the background on Candlekeep, and like did you have to do research on it and then figure out like how we're going to tie in, like, because I know there are lore mysteries, a lot of them. There's books or something you're recovering in a lot of these adventures. So how did that go about?
So when I got it, they sent, I think it was just like 2 pages of whatever they had done at that point on Candlekeep. It was very like a short thing. They sent an example and they said, we want it to tie into a book on Candlekeep in any way you see fit. We don't care how. Go. Oh, here's your level. Here's your level assignment. Go.
Oh, okay.
That you need to. So they assigned, you have to write a first level, second level, 13, whatever. And those changed kind of, because originally I wrote I think a 19 or 20th level adventure, and then they pulled the book down. So it's now the 16th level adventure. We tweaked that and made it, from its original things. So my home group who, did some of the play testing, they cried. They're like, they don't know what it used to be. But so they did. And so then I did actually try to dig through a lot of my things to do for my Candlekeep stuff. Because I have, kind of a stash of old books, and there wasn't as much as I would have liked that I actually had access to.
Yeah, well, that seems to be, this is really an area that is lacking in depth. I know with Ed's stuff has a tremendous depth to it, but all over the place with all of Greyhawk and a lot of other, like I only really found the other book adventure running through here in Forgotten Realms. What was the name of it? I'm sorry, I don't have it. The Lost Library of Cormanther. Mm-hmm. I found that. So I mean, is
I've heard that one.
Yeah, I found that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. You
see, in the old days, they would just phone me. There was no internet. The library had a teleprinter, but they had to travel to Chicago to use a library teleprinter there. So they just picked up the phone and called me.
Which is what, it's...
And when they did jam products like that, and they did a lot of them in the old days because that's what paid for the TSR staff party at Gen Con, the jam products.
Yeah, they're good.
I would get phone calls from 20, 30 people across the continent in those days. In an afternoon, and I'd say, "Oh, there's a new product." Phone keeps ringing, and you see, that's what they now discourage, because now it's corporate, now it's Hasbro, now you have, so they don't want some guy who doesn't work for them as an outside expert. But that's what used to happen in the old days. Everybody would just phone me and say, "Hey Ed, I want to have a talking skeleton in my adventure. Give me a lore reason." So I'd give them 2 lines of a lore reason. Good. Ed said it was fine.
Nice.
Oh, that is
Well,
fantastic.
if I'd known, I could have called
Yeah.
you.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
You just call and or email or whatever works. They do monitor Twitter, so if you tweet,
Noted.
Phone-
you'll see
Oh,
it.
yeah, it had to be in secret. So yeah.
Bluntly asked. That's it. You
Yep.
can never get in trouble for asking.
That's right.
Speaking of asking, Ed, is this your canon? Am I pronouncing this wrong? I apologize. Miirm, Myron the Sentinel Worm. Is that you?
Mirim, yeah,
Mirim.
I came up with Mirim years and years ago, and she made it into Worms of the North
Okay.
back in the Dragon article days. Yes, Mirim, the spectral guardian silver dragon of Candlekeep, has been there since the year dot. And
That's
so
the
long ago,
awesomest
she
thing there.
lost her body. So,
That was the awesomest thing there. I love dragons. I was like, look, there's a
Yeah.
ghost dragon.
And
and you know what?
stats
You know
are
what-
here. There are stats in here.
That counted against your word count.
Oh, and by the way, and here's one item. Here, I'll give you a tidbit of Candlekeep lore right here.
Good for it.
Mirim knows something that is of benefit to all player characters. If you want to forge a legendary item, and you have the sufficient skills and magic, Mirim knows one of the places you could forge it.
Oh wow.
There is a Hellgate, which is a volcanic rift, in the Fields of the Dead. And the Fields of the Dead are the rolling hills east of Baldur's Gate, between the Winding Water and the River Chionthar. It's called that because in the olden days, that was a battlefield so many times, hence Fields of the Dead. Yes, thank you. Cribbed it from Tolkien. Yeah, no problem. Because somebody at TSR wanted a Fields of the Dead in the realms. And I said, sure, kitchen sink, here's a good place. Because it's out of the way. As in, it's not on the doorstep of one of the cities you're developing. Anyway, Mirim, if you sweet talk her, will tell you how to open the Hellgate so you can forge your legendary item.
Wow.
Now, you got to talk to her real nice.
Okay.
And remember, she wants Candlekeep guarded.
Right.
So if you could leave her something that she could trigger with her magic, like a wand or something like that, she could have nearby her and she could wedge, somewhere in the cavern ceiling, and then she could just trigger it to attack people who are attacking her from behind or something like that. She'd love that. And she'd be your friend. And it's really cool having an undead dragon as your friend.
A good aligned one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm dropping shit on the floor the whole time.
He's got dropsy, folks.
Oh my gosh. I got so much here. I'm writing down notes. I'm, all this going on. All right. So I saw Gary Julian say something in chat, and that was that Equander is Eric Mona's alter ego.
Yep.
All right. Is that everyone agree with that? Out there in chat? But if you want to expand on the areas of the Great Libraries of Greyhawk and the College of Magic, go to Living Greyhawk Journal 4 and 5 for these. Gems of the Flannis, Clerksburg, they're both by Eric Mona, okay? Both, and you really get some good detail up on, Eric goes into all the different halls of the colleges. We haven't even touched any of them. How much is packed into this one area of Greyhawk City. So and we'll get to that too, but just
those are great articles.
Yeah, this is right in your era. This is your era, Eric. I mean, you were writing the Grumbler then, right?
Yes, I did. That
Yes.
is also in the Great Library. I assume they have a periodical section.
Absolutely, the Grumbler's in there too. I mean,
If he's a Quander, I guess I'm Saloom Suis.
that's use that in Discord, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So they absolutely.
Our irascible publisher of the Greyhawk Grumbler.
Yeah, and I know. Christoph was trying to get you to write another one.
Yeah, I just need to get another 8 hours a day. I don't know how.
He needs time.
Know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
The kid is a giant time sink. Kids.
There's only
No, you guys have to adopt the British method. You send them off to boarding school. You get to see them twice a year at Christmas and Easter, and they call you sir.
That sound of that the sound of musical might have been on to something.
Right.
Wow. I know we're bouncing all over the place. So
Yeah.
Yep.
it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. So what, Ed, you've told us some real great tidbits, but I'm assuming you love the content and how they put it together in this book.
Oh, it is beautiful. I'm really happy.
Okay.
Like as a gamer, some of the books that have been coming out, which are character buffs and subclasses and so on, I read them for fun, but that's not my jam as a role player. It's like, oh, a whole table full of min-maxers, great.
Where's Casey? Casey out there? I'm just kidding. Okay.
Wonderful. Good to hear.
I want regional source books, and that's what they won't do for the Realms in 5th edition.
Why?
So I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
I'm
but
trying.
This is the next best thing. This is
okay.
It delves into the lore. It gives you tons of adventures, and I love this book. I bought both covers, because it was like, oh, and I know people who wrote for it. Hi, Tony.
Hi.
So I looked at the book and thought, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna sit down, put my feet up, take a 1 hour vacation from writing and game design, and enjoy somebody else's. So yeah, I really like this game. This is my sort of book. If they put out 20 more of them, I'll buy 20 more of them.
Okay.
Hint.
Now,
I also like how they're bite size, so you just pick one and can stick it into your home campaign without committing to a full campaign.
Great point.
As George Carlin said, you can't eat just one.
Great point.
I tried so hard to squeeze as much as I possibly could. I mean, and still some stuff got taken out. Like I had like rumors that were floating around. I had all kinds of fun stuff. But and then, I know, not everything, and I get it. But it was just and I was like, just how much can I fit in here?
Well, actually, that would be a perfect DM's Guild mini product.
Oh, that's a very good idea.
A 99-cent mini product, all the rumors and setup for your adventure, and just say so right at this is what this is.
I didn't even think of that. That's a
great
idea. Because I've got all that written down. I've already done the work.
Brilliant.
Just put it there. Yeah, and give it a mock ancient tome cover. Because
I gotta figure the art thing out. Like that's kind of why I haven't done any of my own stuff on. I'm like, I don't know how to figure that out.
Art's the toughest part. You got to find the right people to partner with. I mean, that's
no. You see, there's actually a cool thing. If you find a real tome and a photograph of it online, that can't be copyrighted if the tome is sufficiently old enough. If it's brand new and it's within copyright, forget it. But if it's an old leather-bound, hand-tooled, one-of-a-kind thing from a European library, take it, jazz it up a bit, like put some fantasy motifs on it, you've got a new cover.
Yep.
For free.
Yep.
Because that is pre-copyright, and we'll never
he's 500 years old before they had printing rights. So yeah. Yep.
And it really fits Candlekeep.
Yep.
That would be cool. I will say I really like both covers for the new Candlekeep book, especially the red one. I was like, oh my god, this is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm writing down the question. I'm getting bombarded with questions here now, so that's a great. That's a great.
Romantic.
Yeah.
Hey, let me give you another quick tiny lore secret for Candlekeep.
Awesome.
Almost 1,000 volumes inside that library have something small and useful, from a key to a lockpick to a ward token, deliberately hidden in their spines, in hiding places designed and intended when the book was bound. So you handle the book in the right way, you can slide it out, like you open and fan the pages so that the cover bows up and you can tease it out. The Avowed don't like to reveal which books have such hidden treasures, because they hope that all intruders come for the knowledge and enlightenment, not material gain. And hey, that's an obvious and old trick. I'm sure if you went to the city of Greyhawk and you went to the Great Library, you'd find the exact same thing. Probably not 1,000 volumes, probably a couple hundred, or maybe even only a few dozen. But I'm sure there are some of them that have lockpicks and keys.
And remember, ancient tomes are huge. You can hide big things. It's not like a pocketbook edition. These things are big. Or some of them are big.
One thing I liked about the first adventure in Candlekeep Mysteries is they had the reading desk.
Mm-hmm.
They actually had a giant reading desk. It's a part of the adventure. Spoilers, so I don't go any more of that. Which is where you would sit there and read your giant book. And if it's old enough and valuable enough, you weren't even supposed to touch the pages. You got out your reading stick to pick the pages up and cover them.
Yep.
And if you didn't use reading stick, a librarian came back and,
yeah,
because
you don't turn the pages at the inner end at the binding. You take them at the outer end.
Because we all know what happens if you lick your fingers and take the pages over. You get poisoned, right? Just like
you get poisoned.
Yep.
What a great movie.
Venerable Yorgi.
Do they chain their books in Candlekeep, or is that not necessary, Ed?
No, chain books are for two reasons. Because they're magical and will walk off on their own if you don't chain them. Terry Pratchett.
Good to know. Yep.
Ook, said the librarian. Or because you don't want them stolen. And that's not something I have to worry about in Candlekeep, because Candlekeep has defense and depth. You have to get through so many people to get out with the book. And the wards, you can't just fly out. Even if you have a spell and you sort of wrap your arms around the book and go zoop and up smash through the skylight, you can't. There are magical wards, so they don't have to worry so much. Yeah, chaining the books down makes it hard. You can't carry them from room to room.
Okay.
Even in the new book.
There is a character in Candlekeep that's like Jacob Marley, who's dragging around all these heavy locks and chains.
So you have. Let me do my one negative of the book, okay? And I'm a really weird person. All right, no, just there's certain things that stick me, and that's vampire thrommels, right, and other bizarre things, but. You go in here to the inner ward, and someone thought it would be cool to have 13 Modrons in here. I'm sorry. I don't. 2x4s. I hate them. I hate them. It's only. What's that? Not you. I know.
Not me.
I know. There's Modrons in here, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I don't like Modrons.
No,
either, so,
no. I'm an anti-Modron.
You know what that smells of to me? It's like, how can we put these things into a 5e product to protect the copyright on them? Oh, I know.
Okay.
I thought it was
wow. Okay. I mean, wow. I never even thought of it that way.
You have to publish something every 5 years in the United States of America to protect the trademark. And that's why, if you're a comic book fan, such things as She-Hulk and Batwoman, as well as Batgirl, and Spider-Woman exist. Because somebody will just come up with a parody or a twist on our trademark. Well, we better come up with it first. And that's also why books that wouldn't sell as well, like Doctor Strange and Submariner back in the day, got brought back every 5 years to protect the trademark. So I bet you that's let's make sure modems are protected by putting them in a product. And here's a kitchen sink product. So they're a kitchen sink. Clank.
So someone has to sit and keep track of whenever
I would never thought of that.
Watched. Someone keeps track of that.
Hasbro has a legal department and their own staff. They're paid. They're salaried.
They do, but that wouldn't be a trademark. Just using it inside of the text of a book, it would have to be like.
Oh no! Because then if somebody else picks it up and uses it, you could say, "No, we've used this."
Yeah, I think it's more
last 5 years.
I gotta agree with one of your commenters here. The real Dorgrim, I think he's onto it. It was fan service.
I just I don't know.
I think he's right.
It's a minor complaint. Okay, it could have been worse. But I just noticed
barely worse.
Yeah,
few things are worse than the Modrons.
Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect.
Yep.
Well,
it
gives you something to disassemble.
I was gonna say now we have cannons and Modrons. This is not good. Yep.
And also, by the way,
everyone, got to
great map
load your cannon with something.
Yes.
That's true. You can have a
Modrons.
round cylinder-shaped Modron. That will be a good use for
they're
Modron.
called duodrons.
Yep.
The old duodrons, the eyeball ones, the circular, you shove those down a cannon and launch.
Monodrones and
Perfect,
all,
yeah.
And then
I'm
the
all
2x4s.
for that.
Situation.
Yeah, I'm all for that. That's a good idea. Yeah,
We
that's
did
a
that
great
in
idea.
Living Greyhawk, a variant of that one, where we had the giants throwing rocks at people, and then they realized after when they missed that they weren't rocks, they were rust monsters.
Oh.
I couldn't even hear the panic.
In circles.
I could just feel the panic at that once they
And
realized
rust
what
monsters were
happened.
mean in 3rd edition. They're like complete jokes in 5th. 3rd edition, they would eat your stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, I found it. Here's an obscure Greyhawk reference I found, and that is in this article, and there's 2 of them. Robert Mullen wrote, and this is the Slaratan's Manifesto. So we're going way back here. This was actually found and located and stayed in the Sages Guild of Safeton, which is surprising. And it has down here the possession of Linnea Hoystreth, the Lady Sage of Safeton. And then it disappeared. So this is in the Greyhawk Grimoires articles. I think this is Dragon 241. So there you go. So Safeton is written up a little bit, a library there. I was surprised.
Safeton.
Yeah, absolutely on the coast.
On that one. It's not exactly Safeton. I thought was like almost a joke name.
Well,
It's Safeton on Wild Coast. It's been there since.
Turin Deathstalkers from Safeton, right?
Yeah. But when you think of great educational centers of Greyhawk,
you don't think of Safeton.
I don't exactly. I don't feel of Safeton.
Yeah, that's why I was a little surprised on that.
No. You have to apply the Viking principle.
Okay.
If somebody's going to raid and pillage and burn your library, why don't you put it in a place where they are not going to show up to raid and pillage?
That's
because
a good
there's
idea.
Nothing else there. It's not worth it.
Okay.
That's a smart. Yeah.
So there's a difference between public library and benefiting the most people, and making it inaccessible and hard to get to, like trying to get into Candlekeep, for instance, and out of the way. It's not.
But they probably did. Yeah. Sorry.
No. It's just not worth sending an army there.
Okay. Yeah, but the problem was that they probably did that before, because Sergeant realized that the Pomarsh orcs will come and plunder it or attack it. So yeah.
Just a notation of another reference that I could find. So Eric, do you have any other Greyhawk references? I got a couple, but
just the one that's in the old box set by Pluffett Smedger. Oh, my poor box set.
Oh my gosh.
That's not old. That's new.
Disintegrating.
The Royal University at Realm Ward by this Pluffett Smedger guy. I understand he goes into our stream chat
all the time, and he's on sometimes.
He's not going to be around for another 500 years. And so I think that goes back to the Royal Annals.
Okay.
Got to make sure I pronounce that one right.
Yep.
So now that raises one interesting question. Every instance I could find of a library in Greyhawk was tied to a university, like the Royal University in Realm Ward, and the various universities in Greyhawk, whether it be the Grey College or Clarksburg and the Magical Arts. But Candlekeep does not have a university or a college attached to it. It's its own thing.
Because Candlekeep is religious. It has to do with Ogma and Denier. If you wanted training, you'd be going to your local temple of Ogma and Denier. Candlekeep is more like a monastery. You know, it's for the monks, the avowed. It's not for the lay worshiper. The only the way the lay worshiper can get in, unless there's somebody special, like for courtesy reasons, by the way, rulers and heirs to kingdoms usually don't have to show up with a tome. Okay, and certain sages who are eminent enough don't have to show up with a tome, because it is in the interest of Candlekeep for the knowledge to be shared, and they will pick their brains while they're there, and they will give them advice while they're there, like, when you ascend to the throne, my princess, perhaps it would be wise if you didn't attack the neighboring kingdom. Just saying, because we discovered some things that they have. Here, I won't tell you. I'll just let you read it. You know, sort of thing. And therefore they sort of keep the world on an even keel. So that's why there's no university there. Now, the reason why each one in Greyhawk is tied to it is because where did Gary and Dave Arneson and all those guys spawn D&D and play D&D as opposed to chainmail? They all met at college. And where did they play D&D? Outside their own circle with students at college. That's how D&D spread through 74.
Yeah.
The general public didn't get to see it till 1975, but it was all over colleges in the Midwest in 1974.
Oh, you can feel it when you read Aquander's Clarksburg article that it's a Midwest college.
Yep.
The university. Yep. Especially the gnarly house.
So, Candlekeep question for Tony. You have Zugtmoy references in here, which are specifically Greyhawk. Zugtmoy was a Greyhawk deity, right?
They moved her to Forgotten Realms too.
I got it.
Oh yeah, they're stealing all the good stuff. Yep.
I mean, she's in Temple Elemental. It's okay. It's okay.
So
We'll get.
I was happy to do the duel, but yeah, she's all in the Rage of Demon stuff that they printed.
It's okay.
Yeah, but it's cool. That shows their quality. Yeah.
It allows me to link it into Greyhawk now much easier. So here's my question. Two questions. Two-part phase. Number one, what is missing? What did you get? What got edited out? Did anything that you were like, darn, or something small or negligible? I'm just curious at the process.
I mean, there's always, things that get taken out or changed or,
Page
there was
215.
What was that?
I had a question in chat. I apologize. Page 215. There you go.
Yes. So, I mean, there's always stuff. I had a bunch more sort of seeds to. Sorry, my daughter came back.
It's okay. No, it's cool. My son will be in and out all night, so don't worry about it.
A lot of seeds because the idea was to be able to drop it into your campaign. Right. So I tried to put in ideas for other branching off of it. Hey, you hear these kind of things or you hear these rumors. Originally I had some more Netherese things going on in here as well, but we decided it was too much to put in one adventure, so I squeezed it down to just pretty much focusing on the Zugmoy stuff and kind of things. There was an encounter that I really enjoyed that I don't think that it worked and as well here. So, I ended up taking it out on my own kind of a thing. So, I mean, because I don't want to ruin the adventure. I'm having a hard time without.
Isn't that hard?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a mystery. So I'm trying not to. I had two I had an angel and a demon, and they were imprisoned in a particular area for a very long time, and kind of abandoned.
They love each other very much.
Yeah, no, they just argued all the time, and it was kind of just a fun role playing encounter, but it didn't really fit with what I had for everything else, so that kind of got dropped. That sort of thing.
Part 2.
DM skill, Tony. DM skill.
Would yes.
You did the work. Share it with the world.
I know what you're gonna go. Oh, sure.
And you can
totally
do that. Realms, not Greyhawk.
I can easily adapt this because of the Zugtmoy. So, would you be offended at all if I actually live streamed this adventure at some point this year?
Not at all, actually. That'd be cool.
There you go.
Go for it. Knock yourself out. It'd be fun.
Okay. I don't think it'll be a problem at all to convert this over to Greyhawk, Wild Coast.
I'll give you suggestions.
That's it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Because you got to play in the game with Eric anyway, right? So we got to get you cranking up in there too, coming up.
Don't join that other group we don't want you to be part of.
Oh, the Cannon Fodder Barrier Geeks War continues.
We're gonna completely mispronounce Oleg every time.
You gotta let me know the weekend because I do have some fishing tournaments coming up now. So
I always give notice.
Tony,
month notice. Yeah,
fishing tournaments.
Yeah, it's
throw
great.
the dynamite off the boat and then come back.
That's fantastic. No, we would do that plenty in advance. Absolutely.
It's a blast. No.
Ulik, yes.
Oh,
Ulik.
that was so bad.
Sorry.
Zytek asks us that I have no idea. Did the Amaskari ever come to Greyhawk? I don't know what that means.
No, me neither.
I would think yes, but I would think they came as spies, not openly with armies.
Okay.
Or an envoy. I would think they just came to scout it out.
Awesome. Okay.
And I think there's a lot of that amongst a lot of planar travel. I'm Ascari from the realms.
Okay.
I would think there'd be a lot of, once you're sufficiently magically powerful and you know about the multiverse, you're naturally curious. And then there are some people, just like in our real world, just go back in your history, who says, hey, I could go this other place and mine this stuff and come back rich.
Okay. Thank you, Excel.
Whether it's rubber trees or whether it's, date palms or whatever it is. So somebody always goes looking because, hey, my fortune could be made.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And if they're wise, they come back and say, nope, that was a close name. So
we got a boatload of questions. Why don't we hit them and bounce back around? Because I know there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes up here relating to books and tomes and grimoires. Do you have a favorite, whether it's Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms, whatever, specific spell? Eric, we'll start with you. This is a question from the audience. I really like
Draw Midge's instant summons because it summons Jim Ward to you immediately. And since the spell has been around since first edition, he's probably really sick of it by now.
So we found here. Speaking of that, we found out that's a great one. We found out that Len Lekofka claims to have written Nystel's, Dwemer.
Magic Ore?
Yeah, he said he did it for the Nystel family, and he actually wrote that. And I'd never heard that anywhere else. And
it's so cool. Now we know it's a Len spell with the Nystel name on it.
And that Nystel is a full family. I did not know that too. It was not one person, but a whole family there. So, how about you, Tony? You got a favorite spell?
Actually, it's gonna sound really silly, but I am actually a fan of Tensor's Floating Disc, only because it has saved my bacon so many times.
Cool. First level.
We're on the time and we have to move all of these things. I was playing in Greyhawk once, in Living Greyhawk, and we had to it was like a battle interactive, and we had to literally move things from one end to the other, and I was like, I cast it. And the DM stopped, he goes, do you really? Let me see that you have that memorized. I was like, I do. Well, look. And he's like, that's a really weird spell to have.
So when you pull out the third character sheet that has this one memorized, as opposed to the second one.
So,
that's the first when I played a wizard the very first time, that was the very first spell I cast as a player in D&D ever, because it was a first level character, and the character was so weak, so I had to stand behind and do nothing the whole adventure. When they found the treasure, you couldn't hold it out. I cast that spell, and that was the only thing I did for the whole encounter. And I remember I felt wizards were completely useless until I cast that spell.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Everybody was like, oh yes, we can carry a magic statue. I forgot what it was. I just remember I cast that. Was the only thing I did. 6 hours we played or something, and I only did that. Yeah.
I mean, this is me being ignorant because I'm an old school 1E, 2E guy. What do they call that Spencer's Floating Disc in 5th edition? They just call it Floating Disc, or is it still Tensor's Floating Disc?
It's just Floating Disc.
Just Floating Disc.
Yeah.
No, it's Tensors.
Is it?
Is it still Tensors?
Yeah, in all the non-D&D versions of D&D, it's the Floating Disc. In D&D, it's
still
Tensors.
Thank you, Jess.
Yeah, I think
There was a bit where they were trying to get rid of all the names, but they realized everyone loves the name, so
yeah,
it's still Tensors.
Okay, cool.
Wonderful. Yep.
Very cool. Anna, what about you? Favorite spell?
Well,
and we'll get with it.
Oh, that's really hard. I think Burning Hands was one of these spells that I kind of like, because it has a short range, so the enemy has to come really close to you, and it works in an arc, so you can kind of and it's like it's like we talked before about the going out to find things and explore the rest of the world, and I had one of the that I used in the campaign was a red dragon. He actually invited people occasionally to come, and he gave them a lot of gold so they can come back, because then there will be hundreds of more adventures coming, so he will give him food and stuff. So that was part of his recruitment effort to get more food and more stuff, was to actually make sure that some people came back with a lot of gold and stuff, so they will tell a lot of others to come. That way he got more to kill. So that was part of it. So yeah. I'm remembering. I
Very
think
cool.
Burning Hands was one of the kind of fun ones that I think I like as one of the low-level spells.
Awesome. Come on, Ed. You got to have some really, really out there ones.
No, that's like, this question is like, which one is your children? Is your
Exactly.
hard,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It came from the audience, so I wanted to.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite. I mean, how many spells have I written now? 600-700 for the game. I mean, you know.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
usually
books of
we're
them over
but
there that you wrote.
I got one of yours. I got one of yours. I'm going to discuss after this.
but I have two that are favorite because of what was done with them by
Okay.
players. There's a throwaway spell I put in the Seven Sisters years ago called Turtle Soup, which creates turtle soup.
Okay.
And the cool thing was I had a player who used that in so many inventive ways. She drowned people with it by casting it down their throats.
Oh my gosh.
She drenched people with it. She took a bath with it in turtle soup once when she had to wash some stuff off her, like green slime. You know, she used turtle soup in all sorts of ways. She would booby trap things. She would do the equivalent of pie throwing with turtle soup on large nasty monsters and take them by surprise or even blind them for a round. She was just so good at using turtle soup that I loved it. And there was another spell that I wrote a skyhook spell, you know, just as a joke.
No, yeah, absolutely. I know that spell. It's like fifth, sixth level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just based on the old engineering joke. Oh, go get me the skyhook, kid. You know, which was the old thing that they used to send the newbie on. Well, my skyhook, before they nerfed it, the skyhook was an invisible hook that you could carry around spells on. You'd cast the spell, except for the final word of the incantation, and therefore the spell would hang. And then when you cast your skyhook spell, you incorporated all the last words of 6 or 7 spells.
Oh my.
6 or 7 hung spells that invisibly they floated around just behind your shoulder or just above your head, depending on where you moved the skyhook. And then when you were like down to your last thing and the enemy was closing in, you'd do the old little girl winning the game of poker. All I got is a pair of ones and a pair of ones. and we had this happen in the realms. We had, you know, the magic user of the party is she's had half her clothes burned off, or she's out of spells. Her hair's been like scorched away, and the evil guys are closing in, and they got big evil grins on their faces. And it's like, okay, we're gonna kill you slow. And then she looks up at them and says, ah. And then she starts triggering spells from the skyhook. You know, meteor swarms, colors,
time stop.
Yeah, all this stuff. And then so she would just vivisect them and then leave and go home using all the spells she had hung. And everybody go, you can't do that. You hand out the spell and say, really? I guess you guys shouldn't have taken so many detect poisons and instead taken useful stuff.
Yeah, like dispel magic.
Yeah.
So, Ed, I'm going to give you credit for, and I think I talked about this last time, Drow the Underdark book, the spell Acid Bolts. I love it. I love that spell. In fact, it's made the way into our regular game. You know, they've copied it a couple times from Drow use, and have got it in some libraries now. Love the spell. Really a cool spell.
There's a really interesting Gary Gygax story I can tell about that.
Okay, cool.
I was running a thing at Gen Con for charity, and he sat in on it. That was the idea. I would DM, he'd be a player. You get to play if you donated money to charity. And the incantation for the Acid Bolt spell is number 8 hat. Because there's a famous mystery story by Jacques Futrell called The Problem of Cell 13, where the thinking machine, Professor Van Dusen, is locked into a jail cell in a French penitentiary after he makes a bet. He bets that he could get out of the cell in a week. And they take him up on it. Well, one of the ways he gets out is he contacts somebody through a drainage channel, which he uses as a speaking tube, and the somebody sends him vials of acid that he uses to cut the bars of the cell. And he also wants clothes so he can disguise himself as a prison official after he uses the acid also to cut the arc lights, so all the lights have gone out in the entire prison. So in the confusion, he can leave with the electronic repairman. And down the speaking tube, he says, acid, acid, number 8 hat, and the guy on the other end of the speaking tube outside the prison walls can't hear him, so he has to keep repeating it. Well, in the cell directly above that uses the same drainage tube is a murderer who killed his wife by throwing acid in her face. And he thinks her ghost has come. And he shrieks and wails and demands to be let out of the cell and confesses to the murder. And he's crying and he's completely overcome. And the warden says, "What exactly did you hear?" And he says, "Acid, acid, number 8 hat." So I said to Gary, "Come on, do because we all used to role play the incantations, and they always used to be rhyming couplets and stuff. By tongue of bat and sulphurous weak, and the mystic words I now to speak, where I wish to play my game, let empty air burst into flame, and then that's your fireball."
I wish
and you had to do all that, which was great fun and really upset parents. But I said to Gary, "Come on, give me the incantation for acid bolt." And he looks at me and he gets this crafty old grin and he goes, "I'm going to kill you. And that is that, because it's time for number 8 hat."
That is awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
It's good you got a connection to that. So here's one of mine, another favorite spell of mine. I love spells that I can use once in a blue moon and they don't see it coming, my players. And that one of them is Mass Morph. I love that spell. It's magic user too. You just turns everyone into trees, and you walk right through them. You don't even realize it. One of those. I love a lot of illusionary type spells like that, and that would be one of them. So, all right. This is a specific question, and it's maybe a little difficult, but I'm gonna take this up. If you could develop, Eric, this will be cake for you. So we'll do you last on this one. If you could develop an area of Greyhawk, if it was open up, WotC opened it up, where would you do and why? Tourney?
Develop just write in?
If you could write something about an area or develop it, if it was back opened up, or you could put it into GM's Guild, where would you do?
Honestly, I still have a special place in my heart for High
Folk. Yeah.
So I would do something there, yeah.
Awesome. We talked about High Folk on Legends and Lore. We did Demi-Human Realms of Greyhawk on Wednesday night, so we talked about High Folk a lot. So
nice.
Yeah, very, very cool. Ed, that may be a tough one for you. But...
No, because I have 2 answers right away. Furiondi.
Right. Awesome.
Because I want to do knights, and I want to do what is the real chivalric code for Greyhawk, and how is it handled, and how are they regarded, and all that, and the Pomage, because I always wanted to do, let's give us a proper orc society. What do they believe in?
We were talking about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was like, we did it very briefly for Thar in Mystara.
Okay.
And I had already done some for the Realms, which they then didn't publish because, in the same reason they didn't publish the Heraldry of the Realms, because Heraldry was Greyhawk. And we couldn't really talk about lances in the Realms because Dragonlance is lances.
Oh, man.
And because when they did the orcs for Mystara, okay, let's de-emphasize in the Realms for 2 reasons. We don't want to have another orc horde because it makes everything we've just published in the North out of date. And gamers will be cheesed. And the other reason is, because now orcs are Mystara, or Known World as it was then. So let's keep our trademarks, our brands different. So we never got to do the heavy duty, what's the life of an orc? Give me my orc dictionary. Let me speak orcish so I can, and without copying Tolkien black speech or whatever. So the Orc lexicon is sitting on my hard drive, half finished.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I have lexicons for Elvish, Gnomish, Dwarvish, the whole 9 yards. Draconic.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I put in the work. That's what you do at 50 odd years. You do it because people love it.
DM's Guild. Yep.
In my free time.
Yeah. Anne and I agree that the culture on humanoids needs to really be developed.
Oh yeah, in Greyhawk that needs thorough taking and someone. A lot of TLC is needing that.
Because if you can make orcs different than Tolkien, but still deployable, as we have deployed them in D&D, you do a great service to the game.
Yep.
No, I agree. Fantastic. All right, Eric. Besides Geoff.
Well, I've already made up, Jeff.
Yeah.
We had 5 years, and I got handed over to my friend Jose, and he had 3 years.
And he's on tonight too, by the way. He's been watching.
Nice. I was hoping he'd have more time, but they were shifting to 4th edition at the time. So I would really love to develop Rel Astra and the Solnar Compact area, because the Knights of the Great Kingdom really call to the romantic chivalry heart that I have of how can you be the knights of a kingdom that no longer exists.
Nice.
And what do you do about this? And the entire idea of how they could be chasing the fallen history of what they once had. They were once the Great Kingdom, but now they're nothing. They're run by undead animuses. The Malachite throne is haunted, and it's just been one horrible collapse after another. And they're pledged to defend this kingdom that just completely imploded. And Rel Astra is
great book right here. Best publication that never published. Well, for Greyhawk.
I would love to see that one, see more, build on that one, and continue moving forward with that one, but spending a lot of time on the Knights of the Great Kingdom.
Nice.
And, even put a whole campaign built around there where the players are all knights or allied with the knights, and they're on the hunt for the new King Arthur. That somewhere there is some member of the Distaff line 3-4 generations back who's being raised in the woods, and this is the king who is going to come save them.
Brilliant.
And
Merlin, and who is Merlin?
Does this person even exist? And one thought I was having with this idea for the campaign is, no, the person doesn't exist. And so the knights decide that they're going to create it by pulling upon the powers of the fairy. If they tell the story enough about a boy in the woods or who's going to be raised, that maybe a fairy will actually create one, and they could draw upon it that way.
It's awesome.
I mean, they do have this giant forest right next to them, the Greenwood forest. There's got to be fairies in there.
Absolutely.
So those are the sort of things that I would love to get involved in.
So you all semi-understand my point and why I love asking this question. And that is, I know of one WotC person who watches this stream regularly, and maybe they'll be like, there's a lot of untapped ideas for Greyhawk. No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. There is a lot of untapped, fantastic, wonderful ideas out there for Greyhawk.
Tons.
Yep. So, Anna, you want to take that one up real quick? And,
sure. Yeah, I want to go to, this is ideas for a future campaign. So one area that I think needs that has a lot of potential, and that's the Howling Hills. One of my wonderful, meaning it's go back a few hundred years, maybe a couple of thousand years. It was one of these areas that was way out nowhere, meaning that's where the people that was forced out, the ones that were excommunicated and away from civilization back when in the early days of civilization, they ended up in the Howling Hills. And that's been kind of repeated over many generations of stuff, meaning you had when during the Vecna Empire and stuff, the ones that didn't fit in there, they had needed somewhere. And Howling Hills is basically the end of the world almost. You have Blackmore up there. That's another one. But and then you had during the Great Kingdom, when that started, that's when you got the Flan culture to really. That was the last refuge of especially the dark Flan part, so to speak. The horned ones come from somewhere, and they also started to assemble humanoids and stuff. And then it's the burial site of the wolf nomads, their traditional burial grounds. And if they use that for many, many, many generations, that's another kind of cool potential for adventure and stuff. So put all that in the mix, and then it was overrun by humanoids. There is a shadow dragon. There is a whole bunch of other cool stuff in the area. I think that's enough, and it's far, far away, and it's cold and bitterly and windy, and it's like Siberia. And so I think that there's the environment itself will kill you at least 10 months of the year. And I think it's one of these areas I would love to sink my creative juices into doing it. Just mapping them would be fun enough, but then writing the stories and stuff. And they also probably has an extensive Underdark dimension to it as well. So that's one of these things that I would love to dig into.
Question for Ed, specifically from Pluffett Smedger.
Ooh.
Did Ed create the Archlich?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
And the Dracolich, and the Elhoon, the Elithalich, and I'm older than dirt.
I thought they paid you for making monsters, and so you just cranked out monsters.
Yeah,
Cranked
that's
out
true.
a lot.
It was $50 US a monster, and $50 US was a lot of money in those days.
Wow.
It was like $100 Canadian back then. And so I was a high school student, a penniless high school student, trying to keep up with fantasy and science fiction and comics. When they start dropping $100 on you each time you do a monster, you do monsters. So I was the monster man for Dragon for years. Yeah, because I was just churning them out. It was great fun. And the other thing is, you got to remember, all the old school gamers will tell you this. Everybody memorized the few monsters in the rule books.
Oh yeah.
There's always one guy at the table.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You'd say, "Oh, does it have tentacles?" Okay. Oh, it's got 5+5 hit dice, and if we yell Thursday, it'll fall over dead.
Yep.
Because they'd memorized everything. So the only way out of that was to keep throwing new monsters at them. And if the monster had been accepted and published in Dragon and was official.
Oh, I agree. That and new spells too. It's a reason why you always wanted to create new spells.
New spells, new magic items,
Absolutely.
New monsters, particularly look-alike monsters, because that gets you out of the old. Oh, it's either a beholder or a gas spore.
Right.
Shoot something at it from long range. If it blows up, it's a gas spore. If it doesn't, run like hell.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct.
Now you want like 15. So which is why I put in the Goth, the Bleeder, the Death Kiss, the Death Tyrant.
Len had the Spectator. Len did the Spectator. So we had a lot of
a Len monster. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
we
wow,
were
you guys are
trying to
being-
make more lookalikes.
Yeah.
Get away from the metagaming at the table and put it back to role playing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree
You
100%.
gotta surprise those people sometimes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I made a new monster for the book, and it was a kind of a lich.
Yeah,
I know. That's why
they're fun.
No, Tony, I am really excited about running this. First off, I have one guy. When are we doing high level? When are we doing high level? All the time. Right? Because we have characters that are 40 years old, and high level for us is 13th and 14th in 1E, 2E. That's high. That's about as high as it gets. So that's what probably level I'm going to run this for, but I think it'll work for ours. I'm going to run this within the next 3 months. I got stuff planned out from, definitely. I'm going to run it. Absolutely. It'll be
Let me
awesome.
give you Dave Sutherland's answer to that. What do we do at high level? Die hard.
So for this third hype train, I'm going to do it. I'm going to give one away. Third gift tonight. I got to give away one of my new mugs. Someone's going to get the first one out there.
Mhm.
All right,
You're
there
gonna
you
get
go.
mugged.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go. With Free City Altamira on one side and the Order of Ulix symbol on the other. So you need. Yep. Okay.
Those are awesome.
Thank you. Question. I'm paraphrasing this because I don't remember it 100%. Favorite in character D&D book? I guess that means what's your favorite, like a character that was in a novel or post. I guess I won't say Drizzt, and you guys won't say Gord. How's that sound? No Gord, no Drizzt. Beside those two, how's that?
That's the only thing I read.
Really? You didn't read any of the Rosesti's books? I'm kidding.
Of course not. Well, I actually started, but I don't think I ever finished them. So yeah, I've read Tolkien, but that doesn't really count.
Eric's thinking, so we can go to Eric first.
Yeah.
Either if you want to do one Greyhawk, one Forgotten Realms, that's fine. He's thinking.
Like in a reading book, or
in a story novel, it appears.
See, my issue is that they're all by Doug Niles and the Moonshays, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this without spoiling our campaign we have.
Just tell those people who are wanting to cover their ears.
No, it doesn't work.
It never works. No, don't tell him, Eric. Don't do it.
Eric, I know.
I know.
There's a watery tart who hangs out in one of the moonwells and sticks her hand up with a sword.
Nice. Ooh.
All right, so Tony,
I'm trying to remember. I think his name was Brandon Olafson.
Okay.
Who was a Northlander prince of Narhelm, and he loved his boat. And he had the coolest boat, the Princess of Moonshay, which was a epic Drakkar Viking longship that sailed all the way. I believe they made it to Evermeet. Probably over Ed's objections, and Doug slide it in. And hey, look, and listen.
They just didn't tell me.
Here, but make a new lich while I slide my ship over into Evermeet. And all that, and then has a massive fight with the Sahuagin underwater because they have like a water bubble over top of it. Brandon was a neat character. I liked how he had a lot of conflicts internally, and also was trying to wrestle with the politics of the Moonshays, where he was a Northlander, but he was head over heels with Alicia, who ended up with the wrong choice of her instructor. I'm trying to remember his name. The wizard. Somebody help me out in chat.
It's been so long since I read any of them.
Anyway,
trust me, I have no idea.
So I like.
I was like,
So there is your obscure Forgotten Realms reference.
That's cool. Apparently, Big Mac got on me because I asked the question wrong, but I like it the way I asked it. So there you go. So,
what question you asked?
Tony, you got one?
Seriously, do you know how long it's been since I read all those books?
I'm gonna. All right, let me give you mine, okay? Because I'm gonna cheese out here. I have two, and all right, you can all go. Well, it's Forgotten Realms, but I love Artemis Entreri before he came back multiple times. Okay, all right. I love the original Artemis Entreri, and I love Jarlaxle. I love them both. Love both those characters. So there you go.
Those are cool.
Yep.
See, and when I was a kid, I really when all those books were going on, I focused on Dragonlance.
Yeah, but did you have what in Dragonlance books? Who'd you love in Dragonlance?
I had all of them.
Okay.
Every book ever.
Like you were a Tika Whalen person, weren't you?
I did, but I really liked Tasselhoff.
All right, there you go.
Oh. Yeah.
I knew guy would say person.
Or Greyhawk, and so I was like trying to think. I'm like,
that's okay. That's okay. Dragonlance is cool. Hey, Ed, I'm still working on a Wizards 3. I'm working on. We're working on Roger Moore. We're working on Hickman. We're trying to make that happen. We're trying. So, Ed, what about you for a great a couple characters?
Boy,
I know so many.
You guys on chat really love asking which is your favorite.
They do ask.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, you see, I was going to be clever, and I was going to give you a book within a book. I was going to give you fictional characters in the realms that are in the various books I quoted, the chapter headings and so on, to avoid doing. But and there's one of those. in Silverfall, and I'm afraid the name of the character escapes me now. Two of the seven sisters are reading the realm's equivalent of a Harlequin, a steamy chapbook.
Ed, stop. Did you create the Seven Sisters?
Yes.
I love Seven Sisters. I love them. Good.
In fact,
burn me again, Gary. Good. Yeah, I love the Seven Sisters.
The realms, actually, the idea for the realms came to me as a child of 5, when I had a waking vision of a snowy forest at night with lots and lots of creature eyes peering out of the trees, and they're peering at into a tiny clearing, and there's a gently falling Christmas picture postcard snowfall, and there's one woman sitting alone wrapped in her cloak beside this tiny campfire she's made, playing an Irish harp, and she has long silver hair, silver as in the metal, and all the beasties are listening to her play. And then out of the trees comes another woman with silver hair in full armor with a cloak over it, a winter cloak over it, and that's Dove.
Oh yeah.
And Storm was the first girl. I didn't know who they were at first. I just wanted to know more about this. So that's where the realms came from, that vision of 2 silver-haired look-alike ladies. So the Seven Sisters is the beginning of the realms, actually.
Really? Beginning.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that picture with the lady with silver hair? Isn't that John Bauer from one of these stories that he illustrated? I think so. That rings a bell.
Wait, Jose Ortiz. Jose, if you're on still, you could link your Seven Sister portrait that you did, please, which is beautiful. I believe you did one.
Would love to see.
Yeah. Please, Jose, if you're on still, I would love for you to do that.
Anyway, in Silverfall, there's a bit where 2 of the Seven Sisters are giggling over this badly written romance, steamy, torrid chapbook, and there's a female character in that book who has the most unbelievable physical attributes, and at the same time, she's one of those, oh, my clothes seem to have fallen off. How did that happen? You know, so and it's a complete send up of the really, and that was one of my favorite characters to write, because how ridiculous could I get this? Because and still remain within the bounds of the code of conduct. So there are no naughty words, no actual nudity, no stuff, you know. So it's like the teasing. It's the endless tease.
Cool.
So that would be my favorite Forgotten Realms character.
Okay.
My favorite character from Greyhawk was not a novel character.
Okay.
Because most of the Gord the Rogue stuff I read wasn't to my taste. It was a bullywug that was played, I think, by Luke Gygax at the table.
Yeah, Luke named the bullywug. Yeah.
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 And it was the bullywug. I can't remember the bullywug's name, but it was played very much like the dwarf in Dragonlance that Roger Moore used to play.
The Gully Dwarf. Oh,
you're so beautiful. Yeah, the Gully.
Oh gosh.
Can I take you home to meet my mother?
Yeah.
You know, and he was so annoying that everybody at the table wanted to strangle him by the end of the play session. Well, this bullywug was doing the same thing, and it was like, oh, you are going to be toast so soon.
Awesome.
But Gary was the DM, so the bullywug survived. Just.
Well, you don't want to kill your own kid's character off.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta be more heartless than that. Not that my kid plays.
Your daughter doesn't play. Oh, that's a shame.
No, I think
now we know why. Now we know why she doesn't.
Well, if she's like, she doesn't want, it's not cool to do things your mom does. Like,
oh man, my son loves playing.
Tony, you got to do this. You've got.
You know what? I've tried. Her friends play, and she's like, "Stop telling me my mom is cool."
No. You have to impersonate.
Stop it.
You have to impersonate it so she thinks you're a secret agent. And then you'll be cool. You have to have people in trench coats glide past the windows and stop and look at you and do this. and then move on. Or she goes, "Who is that?" "Oh, I can't tell you, dear."
I don't know, honey. Just nobody. Don't worry about that, right?
Yeah. I can't tell you. It would mean your very life, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then all of a sudden you'll be cool.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything that could make me cool in her eyes.
I know they get to that age. I understand. My son, but he loves playing. So, and we three of our regulars all have our sons. We all play once every couple months. So it's a great experience. You guys all right if we run a little late? I always ask.
Sure.
Okay. Just want to make sure, Tony. I know you're.
Yes.
Okay.
Tony, just ask your
Eric,
daughter,
you okay? You good?
why does
Having a blast
Superior
tonight?
have
Eric looks like he's just
two
out there,
library
man.
of
Eric's like, this is awesome.
Can't go for 3 hours. I need some Advil.
Yeah, we're not going to go long. I just want to make sure because, common courtesy there. I got a specific question for Ed. Ed, the Greyhawk spells, when they were ported over, did like the wizards themselves bring them to Forgotten Realms? That's part 1. Part 2, and this one's a detailed question I think that you will, with your great prose, will answer. And it says, Elminster needs to get a book from the Great Library of Greyhawk. What is it, and why is he there?
Oh, that's an easy one. Okay, first of all, let's do the first question first.
Okay.
Yes, most of the spells were actually brought by the mages themselves when they were planewalking. And one of the things they did was sell spell scrolls to get big clumps of money they could take back. And of course, by big clumps of money, they don't want coinage. They want either gems or they want pure trade bars, ingots of refined gold or silver that they can use. And so what they do is they provide a spell scroll to somebody that they have never seen before, but it's undeniably a powerful, useful spell. And they get their price. And then they go back to Greyhawk. So that's how they would have. And then the person who spent that huge amount of money, it's sort of like the old days when one publisher buys the first Harry Potter book, and then they turn around and recoup their purchase price by licensing it in all these other languages, to get more money. So they end up with a profit on the deal. Even if the book didn't sell well, they would have covered their costs. Same thing. The wizard then looks at the spell, says, "Oh, this is a good one." They start making copies of it and they start selling them, because guess what? If you're a wizard, going out adventuring and getting killed spectacularly is not a good career move.
No.
Sitting at home and copying scrolls and selling them and ending up with millions of dollars and, a car in every driveway and many houses to have driveways, that's the smart thing. So that's what they do. And Elminster would be in the Great Library in the Free City of the Greyhawk for the same reasons, only in reverse. He'd be looking for specific books that have specific incantations and variants in them.
I like
for taking spells that he's come across that he goes, there's something missing here. This spell is both nerfed and fragmentary. There's something important missing. Now, where would and this would be one of the ports of call. Because even if they didn't have it in the library or weren't willing to show it to him, he could probably glean enough from a good survey of the library to know where else in Earth he'd have to go looking.
Okay. And I guarantee, with all the publications out there and there's so many spells that I didn't even know existed in Greyhawk that I'm still finding. There's always something that that's missed, and I imagine it's the same way with realm spells as well.
And that's the way it should be.
Oh,
that's the whole point.
Yes.
You want to overwhelm individual players.
Yes, I agree.
So if they memorized the player's handbook back in AD&D days, and they knew every single spell, and they could tell what spells were by what a non-player character wizard started to gesture. Oh, he's going to cast this at us. Do this. You wanted to deliberately overload them so they couldn't do that. So it's back to role-playing again instead of metagaming.
No, I agree. That's the fun thing about creating a campaign and expanding on it, is that variety. You got to have variety, because if it's same old, that's when you lose. That's when you lose interest.
Yep.
So, all right. Let's discuss. Go back to the original one of the original topics. So, what like, what can we do for the knowledge end of both Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms to continue? I think that this is not your typical hack and slash adventure novel book. It's mysteries and all sorts of other things. What would be a great idea for something in the future? Publication area, a place that needs to be developed for either or of the settings. Did I say that right? A proper question? To further develop on Candlekeep Mysteries for whichever, both realms or one realms. Yeah.
For the realms and heralds, because the heralds have a library that is as good as Candlekeep.
Okay.
And it's time to go adventuring there, because all of those adventures will be genealogy. Did so and so have any bastard children? That king. So are there still, the Bonnie Prince Charlie? Are there any potential pretenders out there? The heralds know all that stuff, and you could do the genealogies, and you could do endless adventures right across the realms. Are there hidden? Perhaps these people don't know. Could you be a long lost great granddaughter of is the royal blood in your veins? The old thing.
Wow, that's a brilliant idea.
Endless adventures.
And Eric kind of tied that in with searching for an heir or king in the Great Kingdom too. Of tied, right, Eric? That was your idea for a tie-in for the Great Kingdom. What, Eric? Come on. As far as Greyhawk, what do you think? What needs to be developed?
Oh, area of Greyhawk?
Well, area or a place of learned knowledge or an idea. Something that really would be cool for the setting. I know.
Oh,
I'm throwing them.
I have
tough ones.
I have
Go
one
ahead.
that I can.
Go for it, Anna.
Yeah.
Because I was ready for Forgotten Realms. I was ready.
Oh, they do Forgotten Realms too, Eric. Yeah, absolutely. Good.
Yeah.
Good, Anna.
Okay, so we have one that is from the Ivid the Undying that I think is only mentioned there a little bit. I want to see more. That's the Eldritch Lords of Rel'Devin. It's one of these kind of really cool, meaning what do they guard? It's like a 200 feet tall spire, and the wall is like enormous around it and stuff, and they guard secrets. And Carvin, the Prince of Rel'Devin, he is one of the members there. And meaning it's an assembly of old liches that guard magic secrets, or what is it? Meaning, have they figured out what caused the invoked devastation and have that magic sitting on it and don't want to tell anybody, and what's up, so to speak? Meaning there are many interesting possibilities, but there is the wizard elders, wizard lord council or something in Rel'Devin, and I think that will be a kind of an interesting thing to develop for Greyhawk.
Awesome. Go ahead, Eric. You got one for Realms?
Well, now you got me thinking Greyhawk.
We'll skip. All right, we'll go to Tony next, and then you can still think, right?
I'm ready for you now.
Go for it. Go for it.
Neil Draw, the Royal Courts of Keolan. If you're looking for a setting book like Candlekeep Mysteries, the Herald Courts of in Neil Draw, of all the people who are coming there, all the intrigues, all the various court of the land that meets the Neil Draw. You could have so many wonderful political style intrigue adventures, and also court. So I kind of have a Three Musketeers feel to it in my mind whenever I'm thinking about it. The various schemings of great lords plotting against each other, and also you get the country pumpkins from Jeff showing up and all needing a bath, and so they hose them down out back before they let them in any of the buildings. The yeomanry, and so Neil Draw is like a crossing point of so much there. And over in the realms, I would love to do something like the Docks of Calimport, and every adventure is about a different ship or a different something passing through Calimport. Particularly if you do like various treasures, different ships, different people passing through, all centered on the docks, the great docks of this fantastically huge merchant city that is right at the point of the realms where you kind of go down and then can start going east.
Cool.
I think that has as much potential there, although it'll be much more mercantile and has more of a hidden treasures brought from afar. And also you have all the genies like right out back that you can then draw stuff from.
That's awesome. Tony, what do you think?
You know, I mean, if you want to tie it into knowledge and stuff, I have always been fascinated with the Sea of Dust and all of the information that was probably lost and that's probably buried under piles of sand. And, you know, this whole civilization is just mostly gone, and what things were lost that's still sitting out there.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. It's a fantastic idea.
Nice.
Yep.
I love the multifaceted aspect of you and Eric being really, playing in both realms, which is great. Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms, you get that feel for both. All right, so here's mine. Everyone knows I'm a western side of the map guy in Greyhawk, and I've always been. Sheldamar, the Uluk State, Selene, the whole Wild Coast. I would go outside the box, and I think that what needs to be developed is stories on the Iron League. I think that area there's some sidebars, but I don't think anyone's really done enough justice to all the stories behind it. Like it would be Sundi and ID and Onwall and Iron Gate all together, and the machinations of the political aspect that's going on there. I think there's a lot of development that could happen in that area if I went outside the box on my comfort zone. So that would be something I would do. So hopefully there were good answers for everyone. Wow. A lot, isn't it? A lot of stuff. I know we have one other one, or a couple other questions out there, but I don't want to push our luck too much on it. So we'll deal with one more. Ed, we'll start off with you. So I know you've hinted at a lot of things you have half written, and if we go back in the campaign, back to the days of Candlekeep or back to the very early setting, are you happy with the entire direction of Forgotten Realms from the beginning setting, or is there something you would have loved to have tweaked a little bit that happened?
Oh, hundreds of things.
Okay.
The main thing that was not to my liking was new editions of the game and updating D&D and therefore covering the same places over again, and then having realm-shaking events in both novels and adventures. And I would always say to the TSR in-house designers, because there was this thing at TSR called the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It's where every year they put products up against the wall and shot them, because they would all come up with ideas, department, as to things they'd like to do. And they only had so much press time and so much paper they could afford, and so many slots in the release schedule. So products would always get shot and fall off the schedule. I think the Thay product and the Evermeet product fell off 6 times, I think, before it got done. And every time they did this jumping around, I would say, guys, I haven't finished carpet bombing the world yet. Meaning I wanted regional source books to every part of the globe. Everything. And I kept getting that, no, they won't sell. Only Waterdeep sells and Dungeon sell. And I said, because you do them over and over again. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If all you sell in your store is pickles, then pickles sell.
Yeah.
If there's an empty shelf where the ham should be, then you can confidently tell me that no ham sold today. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, guys. How do you know if you? And of course, what they were doing is saying, well, some Mystara source books sold like hotcakes and some didn't. And I said, yeah, but you dress things up in a cool super adventure, which is what they're doing with 5e. And you spoon feed your dwarf lore or your orc lore, whatever, as part of the adventure. I said, fine, I don't care how you dress it up, but let me cover all these places that haven't been covered. And it's with the exception of Sembia, which we'd said at the beginning we would leave for Dungeon Masters. Because Sembia was, let's face it, the land of fat, rich merchants. Okay, otherwise known as the United States of America. Oh, sorry. No, but I mean, Sembia was to be left to Dungeon Masters so that we wouldn't walk through it and ruin everything in your campaign by detailing it. Anyway, aside from that, I wanted to cover everything, and we never ever got there. And we also got real world history half baked and so on. So we got the Dalai Lama in the realms and stuff that I fundamentally disagreed with, because I think it's disrespectful and it drags you out of a fantasy setting into real life, and it drags the historians and the gamers amongst us who go, oh, but stirrups weren't invented until, and it drags you out of the headspace of a fantasy adventure. So I think that was a mistake, and I would have loved to have covered the areas we haven't covered yet. It annoys me that after 55 years of working on the realms, I still get, well, what's in this continent called Oz? What's it like? And what's over here on this part of the globe? And I'm thinking, that should have been covered years ago. And it was, but it wasn't.
Right.
Darn it. So that's my pet peeve, because it's like, oh, don't go west. Don't even look west. Don't even think west, because I haven't detailed what's there yet. I mean, that to me is a cheat. When we spent, millions of dollars developing the world, when we're heading for movies, if we've got lunch buckets and bendable hand puppets and over 500 novels, we should know what's on the other side of the planet.
It's the same with Greyhawk.
Yes, exactly.
Skip Williams did that map in a weekend. We've heard it when he was on. He just wrote up and put names on it. So yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Actually, I had a follow-up question for you on that one, Ed. With Symbia being reserved for dungeon masters.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Do you know any dungeon master who has ever done anything in Symbia?
No, because
I don't either.
No, because Symbia is too. Oh, it's like real life. It's like going to Vegas for the weekend.
Okay.
It's like it's where rich merchants come from and they do each other dirty. So it is a.
Actually, that sounds kind of cool.
Well, yeah, it's a generator of sponsorships, but nobody wanted to put their adventures there. You could do loads of cool murder mysteries in northern Symbia, because everybody has their country house where they go to hunt for the weekend, and they go to their cottage, and their cottage has 400 rooms. It's a real English country house. It's a castle. And it's surrounded by its own woods and everything. And you could do endless murder mysteries there. But nobody wanted to do those as adventures, because they rapidly realized the word count involved in setting up a good murder mystery.
Oh, it's a lot.
It's 600 pages.
Wow.
We're talking box sets with 4 bound books in them.
And you also have the Symbia creep slowly coming north into the Dale lands, eating the Dales one by one.
Sure. Yeah, because that's what they do. Elbow room, laughed Daniel Boone.
Oh, poor, was it Moondale?
Yes,
Moondale. Ordulan? Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's still buried there somewhere, though.
It's still buried, and there's still regalia treasure there.
See, you could.
There's another realm.
It's awesome.
Anyway, so that was my aside. Thank you, Jay.
No, it's now.
I've never known anyone who has done anything in Symbia.
Okay. Tony, what do you think of something? I mean, you're involved in Living Greyhawk too, so you're like, all that funness.
I forgot the question now. It was
change something.
Feed that woman.
I was like listening, and I was.
That's okay.
Oh, like what's going on?
Feed her.
I'm tired. It's late, I guess.
I mean, I know. So here's mine. Okay. If it wasn't alive during Living Greyhawk, it was killed. I mean, everything was killed, right? I mean, they killed everyone everywhere, and I was like, now I understand how much the autonomy out there was a big plus for creativity, but it was a big minus for destruction, right? I mean, over a beer and a couple shots of bourbon, they destroyed the 10, right? We heard that discussion. Eric Mona and Bolton, you know what? Let's just obliterate it. They're all drunk at a bar, and they decided to obliterate it to touch a 10.
It's lazy game design. It's shake the pot up. And the problem is it upsets all the gamers who have been playing in that area, or that was their pet toy, or they want to see it go on to great things.
Right.
For the same reason that Traveler was exploring the whole galaxy. And then, let's kill off the Emperor and have this civil war and have the whole thing break apart. And you go, you haven't finished mapping the galaxy. Excuse me, you know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
incrementally, kind of the way they did, like we saw the silver marches slowly come together in the north, and then it fractured again.
Yep.
But I don't know if that dream is dead.
No, it's never dead. Just as Peter Parker will never graduate. No, I mean.
Yeah. Reboots are boring, right? I'm tired of reboots.
We set things up to be a sweet adventure spot, because so that your player characters can have some agency. They can the world.
Yeah.
So you have things that are hanging fire, that are happening right now, that are in flux, so that what your player characters do matters in the world.
Yeah, that's true. I think that was Sargent's idea with From the Ashes. I imagine it was to stem the tide of evil that had come.
I know it was.
Okay.
He wrote me a letter.
Oh, really?
Nice.
In the letter days, yeah, and I wrote him one back, and I drew Elminster with his pipe at the bottom of it.
What could you give us a little detail on what he said in that letter?
Yeah,
that'd be wonderful.
He was thinking about how can I build mega campaigns into the setting that won't result immediately in world wars that will destroy things. And I was giving him the old everyone loves a mystery. And please avoid the two mysteries as what happened to the missing wizard and all his spells that we have to go find and then rule the world with them. And please do not do, the long lost prince has been hiding all these years as a humble farm boy, and because
King Arthur.
Hey.
Yeah. No, do not do those. They've been done to death. A dungeon master can think of those in 5 seconds by themselves.
Yeah.
Give them something else. And he said, like what? And I said, like the Hanseatic League. How would it be in Greyhawk if somebody was trying to build up a mercantile power that was global, that had trade routes, that had chits like IOUs, like you could trade your exhausted horses and oxen for new ones, and therefore do the Pony Express thing across, and if somebody would do that, everybody would benefit, but then there'd be people who try and seize control of it, particularly rulers. And this could be a great ongoing campaign generating thing. And he said,
it's a great idea.
Great. And he says, but I can't put it in that. I want fighting and killing every 6 pages.
Okay.
Because that was his editorial brief.
Oh man, there's lots of killing and fighting in the Hanseatic League.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, what he meant is he didn't think he could sell this idea of a mercantile organization. And I said to him, so why don't you have dragons who are feuding with each other, but they don't want to fight each other because that hurts everybody, sponsoring rival players within this, players in the world, characters, groups, cabals, merchant cabals, and therefore dueling it out that way. And you can have dragons behind them. And he said, that is really cool. But apparently that got shot down. And I think it was because somebody else wanted to do something with dragons. I don't know if this was Council of Worms time or when. Some other project was, or Dragon Strike, or some other project within the company was concentrating on dragons, and they didn't want him to go there.
It had to be Council of Worms or Dragon. Yeah. Was Dragon Mountain that time too?
That was a little later.
That was a little later, Dragon Mountain, or okay.
It might have been, but who knows how long that was in development before we saw it. So maybe it was Dragon Mountain. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, that was the problem. In order to keep the brands separate, there was so much, you can't go there. Like, we can't publish any of the Heraldry of the Realms because Heraldry is Greyhawk. That sort of thing. There was so much of that because it's easier to keep brands separate by just denying. No, don't do that. That's this brand. Because it's less work for the people in-house who are coordinating. Now, I want them not to go insane and not to drink that much. But there are times when you should actually take the time and sit down and say, well, we can have Easter eggs and cross-pollinate. And that's what the Wizards 3 was about.
Yeah.
The dragon editors telling me, hey, write these because we want the worlds to support each other.
And
that was the Kim Mohan editorial assignment.
Nice.
One day, we're trying behind the scenes to get those individuals for that Wizards 3. That would be unbelievable. Just to sit here and just rap and just gab about that. That would be. But Tony, Eric, you want to take this one up on changes or anything else? I know you forgot you may have forgot what the question was, but it's okay. Yeah, that was nice. I know. I noticed you're taking the glasses off too. See, when I take the glasses off, now I can't see anything.
I'm blind.
Yeah, same here.
I was just nodding at that point because I'm facing the camera. So
cool.
Oh, that's okay. Take the glasses off and do a car race. All the racing car drivers do it.
I wouldn't be able to tell if you were not doing that. So no, my glasses were just super filthy. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. So, anyone want to bring that one up, or should I? I can go on to shout outs and final calls. Okay, sounds good.
I guess I'll touch on it real quick.
Go for it.
I noticed they put the Crook of Ral in the one of the more recent 5 ebooks.
Tasha's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the curse that's on it. Was that curse on it already?
No, that was added.
Okay, that one concerns me, and I wasn't quite sure if because of the how that has been used in Greyhawk lore. I don't know if it's compatible. So that was one of the things that kind of flagged and moved on. In Forgotten Realms, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious they're doing a massive rollback of the Sundrain, of everything that happened during the 4E. It just seems to be like they're going through flipping all the switches back into the up position when they push them all in the down position.
Mm-hmm.
So I fully support this because I liked all the switches in the up position. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that continues to develop. I also would love, kind of as Ed touched on, is to not have a realm shaking event every time we go to a new edition. Because it gets the realms gets really discombobulated with all the realm shaking event being shaken up all the time.
It takes away the importance of the event if it happens constantly.
Bingo.
It's not that big of a deal then.
Maybe go with like a region shaking event instead of a realm shaking event. Maybe change what the R stands for. And maybe it's like really bad on the Delimbir Vale, but people down in like, we didn't hear anything. Didn't blow up in our neighborhood. So I guess that's why we want is like to regionalize the explosions a little bit. Like we're kind of doing.
We prefer foreign wars.
Yep. Yep.
I hope you enjoyed this. I know we were all over the place, but I think that's what's so cool about these kind of talk shows. We just bounce around, right? And whatever comes up, whatever questions come up from the audience, it's always fantastic. And everyone is everyone's saying we gotta have them back again. I said, all right, you gotta I can't have them back every week because then you can't do that, everyone. But we'll definitely have everyone back very soon. Shout out wise. Tony, you want to start us off? What is going on in your world, gaming-wise and writing-wise, and your foot and all the other things, your ankle?
Writing-wise, I'm doing the Moonshade stuff with Eric for Baldman Games. So I still owe Eric an adventure.
When's it due? Is it like due now?
It's way past due.
Oh no!
When was it due?
The late Tony Winslow-Brill.
Yeah. I know, and I feel terrible, and I've had so much drama go on.
Well, the project comes limping in.
Flooding, the bathroom, the shower. Yep. I mean,
breaking my leg and foot.
Yeah, the project is limping in here at the end. So,
Tony's
on
house
the
was
other hand,
trying
you
to kill
can
her.
legitimately put drama queen in the resume.
Except it's just regular drama. It's not even like fun drama.
Yeah.
Queen of irregular drama. No, that sounds wrong.
Well, Well,
in addition to that adventure, she's also helping me go through every single adventure we receive from all of our writers to make sure everything's consistent. So, project management,
and that's tough to do.
There's a lot of juggling balls. That's why poor Eric can't do them all by himself either. He tries. Stop it.
And there is the look of a man who's had his balls juggled. There,
Yeah,
I
so I
can see it right
knew
there.
that. I knew when you said that, Tony. You opened it up. I saw that a mile away. I was like, I know that's coming.
Yep.
Yes, that's okay.
and we walked into that one too.
Yeah,
You set him up
I
all.
was like,
knock him down.
Uh,
So the other question I have for Tony is, what kind of character classes you like to play? Because we got to get you a character made up for my campaign.
You know, I tend to either play wizards of some sort.
Awesome.
Those are my favorite. Or I will play some sort of frontline fighter type. Those are they
Awesome.
go those two. But just like rogues with a blazing, burning passion, and I know it's unreasonable. There's no reason for it, but I just don't make me play rogue.
How about a multi-class fighter mage, half elven or something like that? Best of both worlds.
Yeah,
The old 1E, 2E style, not the 12 classes, 3rd edition style. Sorry, I'm busting on 3rd.
You
Yeah,
should.
see, look at that. It's like, yes!
My one character, I have a character that's high level. I counted 14 classes.
Yeah, oh my gosh. 3rd edition, 14 classes. Oh my.
I had an idea in my head and I was working towards it.
Oh my. Yeah. Old school. That's okay. Cool. Easy enough. Easy
if
enough.
you're doing the old school fighter mage, could you be instead of a Melf, would you be a Felf?
We have Melf. Remember, we already have the son of Melf. Luke Gaiax has already played the son of Melf, a fighter mage, in my game, and I got shit because I told him about he couldn't cast Melf's acid arrow at the range he tried to cast it at. Remember that already.
Yep.
Oh, Tony, I've got the novel for your character. Undercover Kender in Greyhawk.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No.
I'm Spelljammer. I moved over.
Oh, my
right?
gosh. Do you know what DM's Crushing Fist is? Yes.
No, tell me all about it.
No Kenders. No Kenders, no halfling wizards, no halfling monks, no.
No
This is-
halflings.
No, halflings are great, but halflings are fighters or thieves or maybe even druids. This is old school 1E, 2E, right? So, yeah. No. We'll get you something. A half-elven fighter mage or, something. We got some. Anna plays a Sylvan Ranger mage multi-class.
Yep.
It's a great class. So, awesome, Tony. Well, thank you for coming back. It was I really appreciate your input and wonderful stories, and just wish you all the success in the world. And I can't wait to run this adventure. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Super high adventures that are balanced, and in my game, they're tough. Balancing a super high level adventure is not an easy thing to do, and it's a very good adventure. And,
You should not need to balance them. Just go for it.
Oh, Anna.
Yeah.
Here's Anna's saying this, and her characters were 0 level for 8 adventures in her when she was DMing, and
I was
finally
gonna
made
say,
one.
are you playing it in 5th? Because then you don't. But if you're converting it to the old stuff,
I'm converting it to 5th right now. So
Yeah,
so
you are.
Next session will be first
5th
level.
to 1E, 2E for me. It's going back.
Yep.
It's not a problem. So, Eric, what's going on?
Trying to get Moonshays out of the window, out the door. We need to wrap it up. We should have a whole bunch of adventures going up on the DM's Guild now in the next couple of weeks. We do them in trilogies. So the Moon 10 trilogy, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are all set to go out very soon. And then Savannah and I, Savannah's another one of our trilogy leads, are working on Moon 15 currently. And then we got to do the wrap up because Dave wants to wrap that up this summer because we're moving over to the Masters and Tony taking the helm in the fall. So that's that, and taxes are the other half. I have been kicking that can down the road, and now I'm out of road and have a whole lot of cans. So I can't put it off anymore.
Finished my taxes.
Excellent. And the other one is we might be doing one, Brian James, if you know him. When he did the map of the Moonshays, he put in one section of Gwyneth that has a bunch of Aztecan names. So I'm working with him, one of our Brazilian DMs, and a Lee Francis, who's head of Native Realities Press, to help us develop those little sections as kind of a little supplement on Masticans and the Moonshays.
Nice.
And seeing what they can do. I'm hoping to get a real blending mesh there, because they have an interesting history of how these people showed up in the Moonshays and what has happened to them when they live underneath of the rule of a Fey queen, High Lady Ordolf of Serafall, who claims rulership of the whole island right now. So, should be fun. We'll see what happens.
That sounds awesome, man. I love that you're still pumping out the content, and that is the great thing. You know, you're still pushing out great content. And
we will also see if Christoph can hold me down, pin my arm behind my back, and make me write more a Greyhawk Grumbler.
Or if you get a chance to do participate in Gary Julian's Post Fest, we're still doing the Underdark, right? That's a possibility too. You know, but I'm trying. You know what? I don't know why. I'm looking for your character right now. Here's a group. Just to show everyone, because I wanted to share the great artwork with that Jose had done here, and I can't locate her because I had her out and I was updating her sheet, and I don't know where Schwan is, but I have her in this pile of mess somewhere.
No sheet. Oh.
No sheet. I have it somewhere.
I have my sheet.
Yes. Well,
your sheet trumps my sheet.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Anna, while you're doing shout outs, I will. No, Ed. We got to do Ed first.
What?
Ed. What is good? So I'm going to put up Schwan's picture that Jose did, which is fantastic, that you may have seen during the game.
Yeah.
And the Barrier Geeks will be back soon, too, very shortly for another adventure. But, Ed, what is going on in your world, man?
Oh, geez. Okay. First of all, I will give you on Twitter probably tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. All the Candlekeep lore that we didn't get to, because there's one that has to do with the Moonshays for Tony and Eric. Okay.
What? Whoa, no, stop. We're going back to this right now.
Oh, okay. Okay, so let me run through all the other things I'm doing very quickly so Eric can stew. No. Okay, so I'm doing the Thay thing with Alex Cameron, Alan Patrick.
Okay.
I'm doing a little tiny bit stuff with Joe for the Rashomon. I've got other Realms products I can't talk about. I'm working on computer games I can't talk about. And for Fate of the Norns, which is a Viking role-playing game where you don't use dice, you weird runes, you cast runes. I'm doing Ask Cleas, which is Viking era Dublin. And guess what? Even if you don't give two hoots about the Vikings or about Fate of the Norns, it will be a complete detailed fantasy city that you can use in any role-playing game. It's a riverport city. It's walled. It's based very closely on Dublin, and it is huge and it is properly detailed. Every major NPC, all the taverns, tons and tons of shops, what they sell in details, so you can use it literally for 15, 20 years. And Andrew Volkowskis, who created Fate of the Norns and helms Pendelhaven, the publisher, he's going to kickstart this, and then he wants to use it as a living city. Not living city with big capitals.
Right.
Living city as in he will go on
Make edits.
for in the next 20 years putting out little tiny adventures
awesome.
and packs of NPCs and intrigues and cabals and stuff they're trying. So the city will stay alive. So you can just purloin it for your own fantasy campaign.
Ed, do you have a date?
Amateurs borrow, professionals steal.
Yes, go right ahead. I don't know how. I don't have a date because Children of Eriu is his current Kickstarter, which is Ireland, and he has to finish fulfilling that. Then he'll launch the Kickstarter for the Ultimate Viking Anthology, which has a novel by me set in Athleas, a novel by Michelle Franklin, a graphic novel by Andrew Volkowskis, and a novel by Andrew Pearl. You get them all, and it has the box set of the game. So I'm thinking maybe the fall, maybe. Okay. And I am drawing maps as we speak.
And that's what you were doing all day today.
This is a typical city block.
Oh my.
The keyed version. Okay. And then I draw all the roofs and code them and everything and write in all the street names. And then I tape the whole map together. So I now have a dining room table downstairs covered with half the city.
That is awesome.
So it's going to be a city you can really use. So that's my big news, and then I'm writing tons of novels and stuff, the usual stuff. But sorry, Eric. Okay, you wanted to hear about this. It's actually useful for Eric and Tony or anybody who wants to run with this, doing their thing at the DM's Guild. So please feel free. There are 6 tomes scattered throughout the Great Library of Candlekeep, not the Great Library in Greyhawk.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are different in looks, titles, and authorship, and not one of them mentions the Moonshays in their contents at all. But thanks to spells cast on them by the god Azuth, they have bound into them certain powers of the Moonwell waters from great groves on the Moonshay Isles that their bindings were bathed in. So these tomes bear words of activation different for each book on the bottom edges of their pages. So edge printing. Okay, visible only in moonlight. So to see them, these books have to be carried to a window or roof or the open air by night, when moonlight will fall unbroken and bright upon them, and the book must be closed and turned bottom edged up. That when spoken, as the book is held, confer all of the following Moonwell powers on anyone touching or holding the book at the time of speaking. If someone writes down or remembers the word of activation, this time need not be well visible under the moonlight. Lycanthropy is purged or permanently, quote, cured, unquote, and so are any or all diseases, infections, and parasites, while the effects of any active poisons or acids on that person are instantly halted for good. Not repaired, halted right where they are. There you go.
Fantastic. And if you didn't watch the show or near the beginning, Ed gave us some new Greyhawk lore, the scribbling of Sagast, right?
Do you want me to put that in tweets and send them to you tomorrow?
Sure, if you'd like to. I was going to just compile it off of the video too and send it into Cannon Fire, and then we'd have it.
Sure.
But yeah, I can handle that, Ed. Yeah, you got a lot going on. Thank you so very much. But if you want to mention it in a tweet that you did that, oh yeah, what a wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
New information. It's so cool to get those tidbits. I really appreciate it.
That's what I live for. This gaming it's just for fun. And you know, if you try and make a living in gaming, well,
you better enjoy it.
Being an elder gaming god is like being the downhill ski champion of the Sahara Desert. I mean, don't go into it to get rich. Go into it because you love gaming.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then if you get rich along the way, cool. Somebody hit you with a money truck. How did that happen?
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And Ed, thank you for coming back again. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you. Yep.
Monster. We're going to be up there. This will be a top 3 show of all time, just so you're aware, on viewership. And I really thank everyone for coming in. I hope you're all having a good time. We got some giveaways to do still, but let's, Anna, what do you got going on?
Well, now it's ramping up to be a lot of stuff is in the making here. So let's first of all, I'm working on reworking and expanding the Flannery's map south, because Isle of Dread and Savage Tide and stuff, and there's a lot of things on that part of the map was not done well, because there's so much coming out, because I mapped a lot of it even before they did Savage Tide and stuff. So there's so much coming out and no more. So I'm revising that part of the map and adding it south. And the map will stay the same, but the atlas will have the added parts, and there will be a separate edition of that part, so to speak, with Isle of Dread and stuff. And then I realized that there is a lot of things. All of a sudden, the rest of the world is coming in. And so there is an interesting discussion and stuff that kicked off on my Patreon page, and people have been messaging me 10 messages a day at least on various aspects of the planet and whatnot, just from that little sketch. So just as I assume when I talked about it before, is like map responsibly. It's one of these things, and especially comes in here because there is like a lot of opinions and very little fact from everybody, so to speak. So this is something I have to tread very carefully. So it needs to be done. So I will stay away from the other continents. It will only be the islands and stuff to begin with, so to speak. So that will be the other one needs to mature, and we need to have the debate, and people need to tell me and throw garbage at me or whatever so we can slowly kind of move on into the thing. So that is taking shape. And I'm also reading the Lendor Isle lens all stuff from Lendor Isle, so I can putting more detail into that, making sketches and stuff on that. So trying to see if I can get past the conundrum of where to put the Lower Reltarma and the other towns and cities, so I can kind of put something in there that will probably hopefully work, and see at least, so I can at least limit it to 2 versions of it. So we'll see. And then we have the next upcoming Legends and Lore. That is, have you spilled the beans on what we talked about that last week, I think. That we're going to talk about the Flan and
I'm gonna
and the Old Faith. Yeah,
I'm gonna go over that.
So and all of when Gary Julian, when he made a handout for a previous show, then I loved that idea so much. It was so much fun. So I thought that I had some ideas and stuff on the Old Faith and Flandom and Druidism and stuff. So I kind of put together a 2-page little summary of my ideas and stuff that some people will find very challenging. Other people will find like, wow, that's interesting. You turned the head upside down. So I've basically written a history page with a history of the Flanese seen from the old side, from the Flan side, what actually happened. So I try to stay true to every single fact is kind of true. It's just that this is told why it happened from the Flan perspective, which I think could be very, very interesting. And it ties together a whole bunch of events in a way that I'd never heard anyone do before. And I think it's kind of cool. So that is coming to, and I have to warn everybody, I'm not a good writer. So that's not the thing. That's not what I normally do. But I try to make it interesting. And from this perspective, I think it could be an interesting take on Greyhawk history. And then I'm also working on, my game. Yeah, my game is now being ported over to 5e, so I've worked some of that and getting into Fantasy Grounds and stuff, and to port things into it and get the characters ready and stuff, since they will be level 1, meaning damn, we're getting somewhere after 9 sessions. So that is coming. And I'm also going to be a player in Nagoya Joe, Brian Wakenham's new campaign. I'm going to play an almond priestess.
Oh, cool.
Yep. So now I need to ramp up my knowledge about the almonds, which is not 0, but not far from it. I don't know that much about almonds, and so I need to get myself up on that. And I thought that was appropriate since I'm mapping the area down there or south of it too. So that kind of
awesome. When's that game? What day of the week?
I think we start next week. So yeah.
Okay.
So I need to get going on that too. And those are the main things I'm working on. Yeah, at the moment. I also have a commission. I'm working for Gryffindor Games. They have a new module that is going to be, one is going in print that I'm just finished with. And we have a project that is going to be kickstarted later this year that I'm working on as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it keeps busy too.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to. That's the only way to survive in this. Yeah.
All right, so real quick, I'll go through these. Our next stream's Wednesday night, and Anna has brought that up. Legends and Lore, the Flan Druidism and the Old Faith. Okay, it'll be myself, Mike, Anna, Gary Holy, and Puffet Smedger himself will come on too to help us out on this one. So that'll be the discussion on Wednesday's Legends and Lore. And then Thursday, we continue the adventure Return to Forest Green's Bastion. That's in the gnarly forest. And if you want to see and you haven't, here's of course me and here's the Bastion itself. Yes, I am a terrain aficionado guy, and there we go. A lot of miniature building authority. So it's going on, pretty neat stuff. And that'll be we'll continue that. And Gamescape will have a giveaway for some STLs for for some of their great 3D prints as they sponsored the show. And now, here comes a lot of big news coming up. So I am working on a name of someone who works for WotC. They just got to get permission to come on, and that is still in the process. So I'm actually may have a WotC person who works for WotC currently coming on the show. Working on it. All right. I was hoping to have that on for next Sunday, but that's not going to be the case. So Anna, you and I and the ever mysterious Tim are going to do this topic, which everyone always asks me about, and that is Cavaliers. I love Cavaliers. I love Cavaliers, the evolution of the Cavalier class. So we're going to talk about them. All right, we're going to talk about my Cavalier, the Dragon 72 Cavalier, where it's different from Tim's and all the other subclasses of Cavaliers we have. That'll be a good one. We use Cavaliers in the Joust, and the advantages of having the Cavalier class. It's kind of disappeared after second edition. I don't really know why I love the Cavalier. But then again, I'm old, and right, Ed? We're old, and we can't teach old dogs new tricks, I guess, or something. I don't know. But I just love them. I love them. Down the road. Here,
I'm not gonna touch that.
You may not like them, but you gotta know how to tweak them a little bit, right? Just like anything else, stuff needs to be tweaked. Here's to the big shows. So a week from Wednesday. Now, John at Blue Box, thank you very much for following. John at Blue Box has a 2-hour talk show before this for Tailspire that he will have, and that is from 6 to 8 Eastern. He'll have the Tailspire people on, actually the owner of the company and a couple of the tech people to explain that new VTT that they're using. After that, 8 o'clock, Era Paizo Hawk. Okay. James Jacobs, Jason Bullman, and Eric Mona on the same show. There you go. All right. I can't even imagine the tomfoolery we're going to have with those three on at the same time. So, and who knows? So that's going to be a monster like this one was tonight. I have a feeling. I'm excited about that one. Really excited. Down the road, the next big guest, never been on the show before, 2 weeks from tonight. His nickname begins with a Z. David Zeb Cook, first time ever on the show, Sunday, May 2nd. It's his birthday, his 65th birthday that day, too. And he said, I'd like to come on my birthday.
Oh.
Yes. So, the man who created I-1, A1, Vecna Lives, the Tome of Magic. I mean, goes on and on and on. Yes, a big one. I'm really excited. Thank you, Josh, for helping me out with it. Getting the initial contacts to get Zeb on. And we're talking to some other people too, but this one's going to be, Burn the Heretic on his birthday. Of course there, Gary. So we got a lot of great things coming up, and that'll be another fantastic show. Plus we'll have a Saturday night special coming up very shortly. I'm not sure the day yet, but maybe as early as next weekend. Just stuff comes together quick. We may have another game on Saturday. So let's do the giveaways. So we don't want to keep everyone. Tony's going to pass out here, right? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm totally good.
You're totally good. All right. So 3 giveaways.
I follow in 5 minutes.
What's that? What's that, Art?
I said if she passes out, I follow in 5 minutes.
So here we go. This is for the first. All right. So you get the claim. There's 3 things. You need to, okay. I just got yelled at by my wife. I know. And I'm still married. Somehow I'm still married after 25 years. I don't know how, but I'm just kidding, everyone. Please note that. She puts up with a lot of my shit. All right, so Candlekeep Mysteries is probably going to be the first pick, then the Treasures of Greyhawk, second pick, and then the third pick is the brand new Lord Gazumba Free City of Altamira mug, okay? If you want them out, if you want to take one of the other ones, that's great. So here we go. Clearly, there's something wrong with her, Amy. I agree that she puts up with me. So
she's fantastic.
I know. You met her in person, so thank you.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. Yep.
Are we ready here? Can you just buy the mug? Maybe we can work something out clever. Maybe we can. Here we go. First winner. I only got 10 of them, and it's the first run of them. Here we go. The winner.
So they're worth like $1,000.
Jose Ortiz. You win Jose. Great.
Oh,
Candlekeep Mysteries, Jose.
fantastic. Wonderful.
You are the winner.
Good.
Candlekeep
Yep.
Mysteries. All right.
Woo!
Grats,
Go,
Jose.
Yep.
Grats on that. I have your address. Awesome. Very, very cool. Okay.
Yep.
The Treasures of Greyhawk reprint. Dorgrim. Congrats, Dorgrim.
Yay.
Dorgrim, unless you already have this and you want the mug instead, let me know. Because Dorgrim, you may have this already. You just let me know, and then the third winner will be we'll flip it around. Treasures, please. You got it. All right. Third winner for the mug. And I'll get all this. I should be able to get all this stuff out tomorrow or Tuesday, so don't worry about it, everyone. I'll get them right out to you. I'm usually pretty good on that. And the mug winner. And then, Rob, Phantom. Wow, Phantom.
Hey,
Rob,
good.
fellow New Jerseyan. Phantom, New Jersey mug. Grats. So we're gonna shock the crap out of Stefan and Luke Gygax, who's playing right now, when we double or triple his audience, right? Okay? All right. I said that in a semi-arrogant way. I know, Tony. I apologize, but you've all been so.
It was fun. It sounded like I would laugh too.
So, what a fantastic show tonight, Eric, Tony, Ed, Anna. Thanks. I hope you had a fun. I had a blast tonight. I learned. I learned a lot tonight. I really did. And note that
it was so awesome.
Everyone, give the book a shot. Buy it and take a look. And there's plenty of adventures you can. If you're Greyhawk or Dragonlance or forgot, there's plenty of adaptability.
Great adventures. I am so impressed.
Absolutely.
Realms is in good hands.
Definitely.
Good.
Absolutely. We'll see you all, and we'll have the whole crew here again together in the near future. We'll get another topic put together, and we'll definitely have it. We'll invite everyone back. All right. We'll see you all soon. Jay's gonna hit the wrong button. He always does. Maybe. All right. Hit the right button that time. All right, we're raid into Gary Con. All right. We're gonna raid into Gary Con live. Watch. They're gonna be on a break. We're gonna raid in. They're gonna be on a break again. That always happens, right? Raid. Gary Con live. Up there.
Thanks all for coming. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. Let's get over 100. 130. Oh man.
Yes. Oh yeah.
117.
Wow.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you all Wednesday. Wow, this is one of the largest raids we've ever had. That's awesome.
We must use this power only for that.
Yep. Yep. Well, it's raiding. That's
Awesome. All right, let me get off the screen here.